shooting in a week. I'm going to make him an offer again.
Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KURN.
I see the promised land. I may not get there, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get the promised land.
Or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you. What? Wherever you may... What?
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you. I was changing the thing behind you.
Oh, thought you were waving at me. Hi, Ralph. Hi, everybody. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Wednesday, hump day, 20th day of May. We've got a busy show today. Lots going on. We will begin in just a second with Hakeem Jeffries and the Democratic Party absolutely losing their minds. They want young black athletes in the name of redistricting and calling it a Muhammad Ali, Jackie Robinson, Bill Russell moment to boycott SEC schools like Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi, all in the name of redistricting. We'll unpack this remarkable stance by the Democratic Party and why we have a chance, Republicans do, in the midterms because of this idiocy. We'll talk about that. Plus, the DOJ has indicted Raul Castro, the 94-year-old brother of Fidel, for the shooting down of a pair of planes that were on a rescue mission, Brothers to the Rescue. It was a group that comes to aid of different countries, and they were going to Cuba, and they were shot down. We'll explain some of that. Donald Trump continues to be on a roll. He got rid of 5 Indiana legislators. He got rid of a United States Senator, Dr. Bill Cassidy. And last night he took out Thomas Massey. We'll explain who will be running and what his, he's very good at primarying people and getting rid of Republicans. But his rate of filling that seat with Republicans is horrendous. He's only at 41%. More than half the time the Democrats go ahead and win that seat. And we'll also get into more of the endorsement by the president of troubled candidate Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of Texas, who is going to lose that seat to James Tellerico. I guarantee you that. And it is absurd that I have to make such a prediction when we had a sitting 3-time incumbent, John Cornyn, who voted with the president over 95% of the time, who would not cost the party hundreds of millions of dollars that they are now to support Paxton, who, again, as we talked about yesterday, is the I candidate. He was indicted for fraud, acquitted. He was impeached by the legislator, acquitted, and he cheated on his wife. He was an infidel. So there are Senators John Thune, the majority leader, who are visibly upset about this, vocally upset about this. We'll talk about that. Their new gubernatorial numbers, and guess who still is atop of the leaderboard, and that's Steve Hilton. He is still there. Javier Becerra is still hanging around. I don't think that's going to last, although I'm not so sure because all the other candidates are falling by the wayside. Chad Bianco is stagnant at 10%. Even Tom Steyer has fallen. Katie Porter is now in single digits. Her campaign is over. I would not be surprised because she's not a stupid lady. She's just not likable and not nice. Not a nice person. But I wouldn't be surprised if she at some point got out of this thing and threw her support to whoever she thinks although she is kind of bitter. I don't know. We'll see about that. We'll talk about that. And Dr. Stacy Pfluger will join us in the 5 o'clock. She was the interim president of Bakersfield College. They have taken off the interim. She is the present president. But it comes at a weird and sad time because we also learned that the chancellor, Dr. Stephen Bloomberg, has accepted a job in Arizona. So while there is a new transition, there is going to be even more bigger and newer transition in the coming weeks as that national search will begin soon, I'm sure. We'll talk to Dr. Pfluger in the 5. And I got some other miscellaneous news and notes. You'll hear from Todd Blanche on the DOJ indictment, and you'll hear from the president and Hakeem Jeffries on his insane idea. I don't understand what they're trying to do. I really don't. I really, really don't. You're asking these kids to throw away millions of dollars. I'm all in favor of these kids going to HBCUs. I would love to see Morehouse College and Howard and FAMU and some of these schools become not only well known for their educational prowess, but get some kids to play sports there. Not a reality. Not a reality. The reality is that scouts and agents and owners and general managers are going to SEC, ACC schools. And to tell these kids to sacrifice their generational wealth. And guess what? I'm not even talking about the NFL. I'm not even talking about the NFL. In the year 2026, you can attain generational wealth in Tuscaloosa. How much are Alabama students making these days down there in Alabama, Chris Burdick?
Let's find out.
Had a little Gatorade break there. I apologize. I was yearning Gatorade. I'm so sick of water.
So it's saying there's no single average for at least the football team, but they're ranging anywhere between $1.5 and $2 million annually. Annually. So even a guy that got a 480 on the math SAT can figure out that you could leave Alabama, you could leave Mississippi with about $4 or $5 million. In fact, there was a case, Sports Illustrated just did a story on a kid who was suspected to be like a second-round draft pick, and he refused to go. And they asked him, why are you not playing in the NFL? He said, I don't want to. I earned about $4.5 million, and I think that's enough to take care of me and my mom and the rest of my family, and I'm going back home, and I might teach PE at my local high school with my roughly $500,000, maybe $1 million, $2 million in the bank, because I bought my mother a house, and I got my brother a condo, and blah, 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 blah. And yet Hakeem Jeffries stood on the Capitol steps today and told these kids not to do it in the name of redistricting. This is incredible. That's the Democratic strategy. And it is so appalling. And for him to get up there and call this your Muhammad Ali, Jackie Robinson, Bill Russell moment, have you lost your mind? And as if these kids, and I don't even know why this is on the rundown, to be honest with you. It's an interesting story just to show you what the state of the Democratic Party is. But like these kids, imagine if you're a parent of a child, you got a superstar in the third bedroom back there, and you're going to go, you know what, Hakeem's right. We're going to stand up for redistricting, and my kid's going to go to Howard University and play football for the Bisons. Now he's going to turn down his scholarship at Alabama. He's going to turn down his NIL money at Alabama. And he's going to go to Morehouse College in Atlanta and play for the Tigers and go 0-7 and not be scouted by anybody and not make a dime because Morehouse ain't paying nobody to play nobody's football. They'll pay you to be a chemist. They'll pay you to be a physician. They'll pay you to be a pastor. But they ain't paying nobody to play football. And that's what Hakeem Jeffries wants these people to sacrifice. Here is the House Minority Leader from New York.
We will continue to stand with the NAACP in encouraging athletes in our community to look elsewhere until these racially gerrymandered maps in the South are reversed, buried in the ground, never to rise again.
The NAACP let out a statement. This is Derek Johnson. He is the president and CEO of the NAACP. What these states have done is not a policy disagreement. It is a sprint to erase Black political power. The NAACP will not watch the same institution that depend on Black prowess to fill the stadiums and their bank account remain silent while their states strip Black communities of their vote. This is insane. This is insane. And while the NAACP and the civil rights movement was forged by young people, we've always talked about, when we talk about the civil rights movement, King and the Boys, Ralph Abernathy, Andrew Young, C.T. Vivian, they were all early, mid-30s, late 30s maybe. But SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, and the SCLC were fueled by young people. The people that were jailed, that were sitting in lunch counters, were college kids.
It's just like the attack on apartheid. That was led by college kids. I was a young black college student at Morehouse College when the movement began to try to stop apartheid in South Africa. And so there's a tradition to have young people, because that revolutions are won by the young people. It's not by old people. Old people, it's like the wars. The generals are the old folks, the warriors are the young people. But to ask young black men to sacrifice their generational wealth for a political fight, and I'm on, to be honest with you, I shouldn't say this out loud, but I'm on Hakeem's side on this. I completely disagree with redistricting. We tried to talk about it yesterday with Teresa Goldner and got on some other issues, but I completely am against this, that you can gerrymander for Republican or Democrat, but you can't gerrymander to assure black participation in Congress. I'm totally against that. But try to get these kids involved and have them sacrifice their future, and have you, Hakeem Jeffries, and the NAACP determine where they attend college? Have you lost your ever-loving mind? These are first-generational college kids. These are kids that have worked their entire lives simply to just get their families out of the ghettos and to have a life. And this isn't 1970s money, where Johnny Unitas had to go sell cars during the off season. We're talking about generational wealth. We're talking about millions upon millions of dollars. We're talking about being able, particularly if you get in the NFL, we're talking about you being able to live off your signing bonus. What does a first-round draft pick get for a signing bonus typically, Mr. Berg? You don't have to look it up. You could have just made an educated guess.
Oh, honestly. Depending on where you are, I'd say highest maybe $5 million, lowest maybe 1.5, 2.
No, you're getting more money than that. Are you kidding me? I said first round. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but you have to think it's signing bonus, though. The signing bonus isn't going to be a huge lump sum unless they're trying to allocate
It's in the
all
tens of millions. It's not like 5, 7, 10. Are you kidding me? You've never heard that when they go to camp, what's your signing bonus? The guy says $45 million. They go nuts because they can't pay them the first 4 years. So they give them a ton of money for the signing bonus. Let's pick a draft pick. Let's pick somebody.
So I'm seeing here it's about 8.2 to, 38 or 30. Oh, wait. Oh, that was $35 million for the Vegas Raiders. Holy hell.
Just saying. You can live $35 million. And Hakeem is saying, no, don't do it. Don't do it. This is your Jackie Robinson moment. This is your two brothers. I can't remember their names in the Mexico Olympics. This is your time to stand up for black people. Turn down that $35 million. Be part of our crazy scheme. You done lost your mind. As my grandmother used to say. Good googly boogly. Let's get going. I don't even know why I brought this up. I just thought y'all would get a kick out of this. The Democratic Party is spiraling out of control. They are going to lose Democrats. If I'm a middle class, let's say I work at General Motors, worked there for 25 years, 35 years. And here comes my 18-year-old son. And he's the state champion in track. He's the 4A baseball player of the year. He was the #1 basketball player. And he can throw a football 75 yards. And Hakeem Jeffries wants me to send my kid to Howard. He's being recruited by Penn State, Michigan, Alabama, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida. And he wants me to tell my kid, don't do it. Don't do it. Because redistricting has separated black congressional districts. Me as your father isn't going to fight that. I want you to fight it for us. I want my youth to fight that for us. Does that make any doggone sense? No, let's let the adults fight the political fights. Even if I'm on your side, Hakeem, even if I agree with what you're saying politically, don't get children who have generational wealth staring them in the face, get involved in your political fight. Don't you have the guts and the whatever, the power to fight this on your own? You got to call on teenagers to help you out? Give me a break. Let's get going. It's TRBS on a Wednesday. Howard Marcus, and in the 5, the newly appointed BC president, Dr. Stacy Pfluger. That's all coming up. I'd stick around if I you. It's the Ralph Bailey Show right here on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we're broadcasting live from Compassion Corner over at Channel 17. We're having ourselves a blood drive with Houchin Community Blood Bank. Dr. Corey will join us to help us out with our mental health stuff. And we have all the news, traffic, and weather you could ask for. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1, AM 1230, streaming live on the internet at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Kern County is hiring its next state assembly member. Let's review the applicants. Applicant 1, Ana Palacio. Top funders, Sacramento Special Interests spending big to buy her the job. Healthcare plan, $700 billion government takeover that eliminates Medicare for millions of seniors and gives control of our healthcare decisions to Sacramento politicians. Pretty radical. There's no way we can afford Ana Palacio. Applicant 2, Andre Gonzalez. Experience, elected to the Bakersfield City Council. Record, addressed housing affordability and brought jobs to Kern County. Healthcare plan, expand access and bring a medical school to Kern County. Accountable to Kern County voters. Oh, easy choice. Vote for Andre Gonzalez for state assembly. Kern County's voice every time. That paid for by Keep California Golden. Ad committee's top funders, California Association of Realtors, Alliance of California's Farmers and Ranchers, and California Building Industry Association. Not authorized by a candidate or a committee controlled by a candidate.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Dr. Roland Rodriguez.
Hello, this is Bakersfield General Surgeon Dr. Roland Rodriguez, client and friend of Mr. Paul Sheldon. It is my great pleasure and privilege to relate to all of you my absolute exemplary experience with Team Paul Sheldon. I have also referred a number of my colleagues to Paul Sheldon's office, only to receive the most stellar feedback from my doctor friends regarding the office's expert navigation through the complex maze that is Medicare. And even though Paul Sheldon himself is now facing some temporary health challenges, his longstanding and most experienced and expertly trained team of ladies, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn, continue to masterfully guide the clients through the complicated world of Medicare. You most definitely could not possibly do any better than to reach out to Paul Sheldon several months before turning 65. Thank you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Yeah, we got to go wall to wall with her. I'd marry her right now. She turns 80 today, and I'd marry her right now. And you think I'm kidding? And she probably outlived me. I have always, she is the only thin woman that I have really dug my whole life.
Really?
Yeah. I had a crush on her when she was a kid. I would always, my mother would laugh. Like I told you guys, the only time I ever make my parents laugh is when I'm not trying to. And we would watch Sonny and Cher, and I would always be like, what are they? They're not really married. Really? It's not like Ozzie and Harriet or like Desi and Lucy. They're not really married, right, Mom? This is just like for television. No, baby, that's her husband. There's no way she would marry him. She's taller than he is. And my mother would laugh. And she was and they would, the costumes, they would put her in on Sonny and Cher. There was always a segment where they would do a duet in the middle. Remember that? She would like she would like lay on a piano and stuff. And then there was always one segment where she would sing with the guest. And then there was always one segment where she would sing by herself. And she was gorgeous. And she's dating guys like my age. She's 80. She's dating guys my age. Think I got a chance with Cher?
There's always a chance, Ralph.
I just saw Moonstruck for the first time. For the first time.
I don't think I've actually seen that one.
It's a really good movie. I just saw it like a month or two ago with Danny DeVito, Danny Aiello, and Nicolas Cage. They play brothers, and that's really, without giving it away, all I can say. But it's a Bailey movie. I'll just put it that way. It's a rom-com that I just saw. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because I really don't. I mean, it's stupid for me to say I don't understand the significance of it, but the Department of Justice has indicted Raul Castro. He's 94 years old. That's the reason I'm like, really? Now? 30 years after this incident back in 1996, here is the acting Attorney General, Todd Blanche, explaining the incident back in 96.
On February 24th, 1996, 2 civilian aircraft operated by Brothers to the Rescue were shot down over international waters by military aircraft from Cuba. 4 men were killed: Carlos Costa, Armando Alejandre Jr., Mario de la Peña, and Pablo Morales. They were unarmed civilians and were flying humanitarian missions for the rescue and protection of people fleeing oppression across the Florida Straits. As alleged in the indictment, Raul Castro and 5 co-defendants participated in a conspiracy that ended with Cuban military aircraft firing missiles at those civilian planes and killing 4 Americans.
He was Minister of Defense at the time, he being Raul Castro, the brother of Fidel. Fidel openly took credit for it. I mean, there is a modicum of justice. I'm just wondering what the hell took so long. Where you been, coach? As the old phrase goes. Here's more from Attorney General Blanche.
My message today is clear. The United States and President Trump does not and will not forget its citizens.
Well, it'll be interesting. Trump's critics often say that he got drunk by the success of Venezuela and going in and getting Nicolas Maduro. This will be simpler because Cuba is in big trouble. Cuba's in the dark. Remember, they're not getting any oil. But are we really going to go into Cuba and snatch up this 94-year-old man and extradite him back to the United States, extradite him back to Miami? I mean, it's only a 90-minute flight. I get it, but I mean a 90-mile flight. But again, he's 94 years old. And again, where have all these other administrations been on this number? And it's justice for the families. These guys were on a rescue mission trying to help people. They got shot down by the Cuban military. Where were you, Bill Clinton? This all happened during the Clinton administration. And we're only acting now, 30 years later. The families are still involved. The families are very, very happy with this indictment. But this thing could get complicated. And to me, it seems like, and I didn't want to go out on a limb, but I have no filter. We're going into Cuba. I think that, he's talked about Greenland, he's talked about Cuba, but I think we are going into Cuba. I really do. We tried it in 61 with Kennedy and the Bay of Pigs, try to pay back a mafia debt, but I think we are going into Cuba. Back half of the hour, 2 police officers suing the Trump administration over January 6th. We'll talk about that next.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith
Gout's gone.
Peters in
Only one
Washington,
day.
New Mexico. Authorities say 3 people
Yeah,
are
that
dead and
was
more
weird.
than a dozen first responders are being treated for exposure to an unidentified substance after being called to a rural home for a suspected drug overdose. New Mexico State Police say 3 of the 4 people who were found unresponsive inside the home east of Albuquerque have died. The 4th was being treated at a hospital. Federal prosecutors have announced charges against former Cuban President Raul Castro in the 1996 downing of civilian planes operated by Miami-based exiles. The announcement was made Wednesday as the Trump administration escalated pressure on the socialist government. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 645 points. The Nasdaq rose 399. The S&P advanced 79. More details at srnnews.com.
There's a moment.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. Rifle shots can be heard hitting the Kern County Sheriff's Office SWAT vehicle that was sent to help Tulare County deputies April 9th in Porterville, and body cam video released Tuesday by the Kern County Sheriff's Office. The video shows what happened moments before suspect David Morales was run over intentionally and killed. 16-year-old Irene Cruz is missing and has not been seen since Tuesday morning around 7:30 along Smuggler's Cove Street. Cruz is described as 5 feet tall, 110 pounds. She has black hair, brown eyes, and a nose piercing. Police are asking for tips. Oliver Ma, a civil rights attorney from Kern County, is running for lieutenant governor of California on a platform, he says, of protecting families and defunding ICE. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
Supervisor Jeff Flores here. I'm proud of what we've accomplished together for Kern County. We've completed over 75 miles of new roads, as well as major road repairs, improving safety and traffic flow. We've opened a new facility on Roberts Lane that has captured 7 million pounds of bulky waste from our streets, completed major upgrades at Samlin Ballpark and Hart Park, where a water splash pad is now under construction. And when you asked for stronger public safety, I listened and took action. We filled more than 200 new deputies and counting.
I'm Sheriff Donnie Youngblood. I've watched Jeff prove himself from day one, especially his commitment to public safety. Jeff listens and follows through. Our county is better for it. Please join me in voting for Jeff Flores.
I'm proud of the real progress we've made, but there's more work to do. I will continue fighting for a safer, stronger Kern County. I'm Jeff Flores, and I'd be honored to have your vote.
Ad paid for by Jeff Flores for Supervisor 2026.
One card, a world of rewards at Hard Rock Casino Tejon. Unity by Hard Rock turns every moment into more. More rewards, more perks, more places to use them. Earn while you game, dine, and explore. Then redeem at participating Hard Rock locations around the world. From your favorite local spot to legendary destinations, your rewards go where you do. Unity by Hard Rock. Join today and make every visit count. Must be 21 years of age or older. Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
First Look with Scott Cox, mornings 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we're broadcasting live from Compassion Corner over at Channel 17. We're having ourselves a blood drive with Houchin Community Blood Bank. Dr. Corey will join us to help us out with our mental health stuff. And we have all the news, traffic, and weather you could ask for. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1, AM 1230, streaming live on the internet at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Thank you. 8.2.
We're doing a remote.
Me about this yesterday. Flyers all around. Yeah, it's a remote. Him and JR are both going to be out live tomorrow.
Kern Radio is doing a remote?
I know, right? It's our
Kern
1 year.
Radio.
Yeah, no, us. Yeah. 1230, 96.1, all that type of stuff. Yeah. We're out and about. You got to come out because it's, again, like Ralph just said, it's like once a year, maybe.
Once a year?
Well, he does go out to Compassion Corner for these, like once a year.
Oh, does he?
I think he does.
I have not done a remote. I don't think I've ever done a remote. Have we ever done a remote from
Yes,
here?
you have.
We do Kern, the fairground.
That
the fair.
and you do. We used to do the Kern Medical, the drive. I'm sorry, for the kids.
The Children's Miracle Network.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I don't know why I was drawing a blank on that.
Yeah, I guess that's a remote. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That is a remote. I
mean,
miss
again,
doing that. I really do miss doing that. I enjoyed that. The stories of those kids. The name is so appropriate. It's the Children's Miracle Network. It's incredible.
We do your show with Honor Flight. That's a remote.
It's about as remote as you can get. It's about 3,500 miles remote. Yeah, all right. Technically, you're right. Okay, all right. Forget everything I just said. We do remotes all the time.
Okay, no. Okay,
Kern Radio.
remotes here in Bakersfield though do not happen very often.
Yeah. And don't forget, we got to. We'll talk about that later. 842-5376, our phone number, 842-KERN. A couple of officers, namely Harry Dunn and Daniel Hodges, Capitol officers who were involved on January 6th, are suing the president over the administration's, you call it whatever you want, it's almost a $2 billion fund to compensate the J6ers, or people who have been, in the Department of Justice's opinion, unjustifiably prosecuted. And some of these people are criminals. The majority of have you seen the stats of those who were prosecuted during January 6th and those who have gotten out of jail and what they're doing now? These people are the worst of the worst. These are the dregs. These aren't your neighbors. These aren't patriots. I don't care what the president said. These aren't patriots. These are hoodlums. These are thugs. These are oath keepers. And that other group, I forget what it's called. These are a smattering of racial white supremacists. They are, hang Mike Pence. Have we forgotten what that day represented? They were trying to stop an election. There are still people, I'm not going to name any names, but you probably figure out who I'm speaking about, that still are claiming that the 2020 election was not fair and was stolen. This is nonsense. This is cuckoo crazy for Cocoa Puffs. Absolutely. And this fund gets even crazier. Let's remember who these guys are. Here is Daniel Hodges. He's one of the officers involved in the lawsuit. He's one of the officers. Well, I'll let him tell his story.
I remember him foaming at the mouth. He also put his cell phone in his mouth so that he had both hands free to assault me. Eventually, he succeeded in stripping away my gas mask, and a new rush of exposure to CS and OC spray hit me. The mob of terrorists were coordinating their efforts now, shouting heave, ho, as they synchronized, pushing their weight forward, crushing me further against the metal door frame. The man in front of me grabbed my baton that I still held in my hands, and in my current state, I was unable to retain my weapon. He bashed me in the head and face with it, rupturing my lip and adding additional injury to my skull.
The video, along with his testimony, that's where I saw it this morning. The video of what he's describing, because they had the video. It's the video where the young lady gets shot. Have you seen that video where they're all pounding on that door and the Capitol Police are on the other side and the one woman is starting to get in and she gets shot? It's that same scenario. And the video that he has him pressed up against the camera's right in his face, just like this. And he is being pounded from behind and in the front. And these are the people that the government has decided that they can come up with $2 billion, $1.8 billion, and give these people, reward these people money. This is about as crazy as it gets. These people were insurrectionists. These people were traitors. These people were trying to stop an election. These people were trying to hunt down the vice president of the United States, his children, and his wife. They were looking for Nancy Pelosi. Although we could spare her. No, I'm kidding. But it is insanity to think that these people deserve a nickel. A nickel. They deserve jail time. This is treasonous activity. And anybody, and this is, I suppose, the administration's attempt to try to rewrite history, to try to recreate the narrative. We've heard it from other congressmen. What was the statement that just set everybody's hair on fire, that had any kind of common sense and an IQ over 70, that it was just a touristy day or something like that? Are you kidding? And again, part of my bias, as I've talked about, is my absolutely admiration and reverence for that city and for the halls of those of Capitol Hill. And to think that these thugs, these criminals, were running around my house, your house, our house, and searching for the vice president of the United States, all in an attempt to stop an election. Let us remember that. This thing was all about preventing democracy. And now we're going to reward these people? It makes absolute no sense. And again, like I implied yesterday, hell, if we're gonna give money to criminals, then maybe I do join African Americans. I fought this idea because I think it's idiotic. But maybe it's not such a bad idea that Ralph Bailey, great-great-great-grandchild of a slave, gets a check from the government. Let me get in line. If you're going to give money to a guy, Andrew Paul Johnson, who's rotting in jail right now, and once used the future of him getting money from the government because of his actions on January 6th to lure children in, go look him up. Let me make sure I got that name right when you Google him. Please stand by. Don't go anywhere. I'm doing my Corinne Jean-Pierre, just checking my notes. Andrew Paul Johnson, molesting minors, telling kids that he'd share his restitution with them because he was certain he was going to get money from the Trump administration for breaking into the Capitol on January 6th. Those are the type of people that we're talking about. This is nuts. Makes absolutely no sense. 842-5376, 842-KERN. You got anything on the board?
Yes, I got a couple.
What do you got?
RB, what about the feds inviting peeps in?
The feds inviting peeps in.
I believe they're talking about January 6th, all the people that were actually, telling them, let them through and all that.
Well, I don't know anything about that. What about the video? What about people climbing through the windows and breaking the windows? What about people roaming through the desks of Congress members? What about hang Mike Pence? What about Mike Pence with his wife and children in tow? That has no impact on y'all? That the vice president of the United States, who, by the way, was the people were catapulted to the vice president by his president, was Donald Trump at that speech and said, we don't like him very much because Mike Pence did the right thing and followed the Constitution rather than follow Donald Trump. And they went down there talking, hang Mike Pence. What about that? Wow. Are we just going to ignore the video and just, the old Richard Pryor, joke? Who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? And you've got some report that some feds let them in, and you're just going to ignore every video that you've seen of Capitol Police trying to push these people back? The one Capitol Police officer that led them away from where the vice president was and where from other legislators were? Just going to ignore that. That just doesn't exist, huh? And the testimony of a Capitol Police officer who was injured? Or what about the Capitol Police officer who had died a day later? See, these are the things that I don't understand. Because I used to be a liberal Democrat. And I used to think of the Republican Party as the law enforcement party. When I was a liberal Democrat, there were two things about the Republican Party that always stood out to me. They were about law and order, they were a very religious party, and they were about lowering taxes. And now the entire nature of the Republican Party has changed. And we all know why. Everybody gets in line, because if you don't get in line, you're Dr. Bill Cassidy and you're out of election. You're Thomas Massey and you're out of a job. And until these Republicans have the stones to stand up and roll the dice with their careers, they just don't. They just don't. They provided Donald Trump with the type of power that we've never seen before in our lives, namely because we've never seen, particularly since Ronald Reagan created the 11th commandment that thou shalt not speak ill of a Republican, we've never seen a powerful president on either side of the party go after their own party. We've never seen it. Never. And again, I hearken back to what used to be the god of the Republican Party, Ronald Reagan, who just said, you don't even speak ill of a fellow Republican, let alone primary them. And again, if it led to better legislators, if it led to victories, I'd understand supporting this. But when the man is 41%, I'll have my day. Let's go, Chris. I'll have my day. Because when James Tellerico was in the United States Senate, y'all can curse me out now. And you can say that I'm a traitor and I'm really not a Republican and I'm a rhino and all this. But when James Tellerico is sitting in that Texas Senate seat, I'm going to be like, how you like me now? How you like me now? I told you Tellerico was going to beat Jasmine Crockett, and I'm telling you he's going to beat Ken Paxton. You really believe that a pastor is going to lose to a guy that was indicted for fraud, was impeached by his own party, and cheated on his wife? And you think the pastor is going to lose in Texas? And you know what Trump said this morning? You know what Trump's big beef with it is? He's a vegan. See what I did there? That comedy, y'all didn't even catch it, did you? What beef he has with him that he's a vegan? Come on. That's witty. That's clever. That's comedy. Quick time out. Howard Marcus joins us at the top of the hour. Coming up at 5. It's a weird day for the Kern Community College District in Bakersfield College while we celebrate the official naming of Dr. Stacy Pfluger as the new president. We bid adieu to a man I thought was going to be here for a long time and have some really significant impact on junior college education in our community. We bid adieu to Chancellor Stephen Bloomberg, who is moving on to Arizona, Maricopa County, I do believe. We'll talk to Dr. Pfluger, however, in the 5. In the meantime, keep it locked. You're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230.
Adaptive.
To 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we're broadcasting live from Compassion Corner over at Channel 17. We're having ourselves a blood drive with Houchin Community Blood Bank. Dr. Corey will join us to help us out with our mental health stuff. And we have all the news, traffic, and weather you could ask for. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1, AM 1230, streaming live on the internet at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
You know, I knew nothing about the ins and outs of IT. That was until we got teamed up with the folks at Adaptive Networks. And as most of you know, Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne join us every other Wednesday to talk about their business. We signed up with these folks because they're reliable, they're secure, and in the 21st century, security is a huge factor when it comes to IT. We talked about the Canvas debacle, where the Kern Community College District, the Kern High School District, and school districts all over the nation were being held hostage when their academic, just simply their academic information was stolen. Imagine if it were financial. And if you look in the papers and recent reports, there's still no word on whether there was an exchange of money, ransom dough. That could happen to you if you're an IT businessman and don't take care of your IT. Team up with Adaptive Networks. Not only can they stave off the scammers, but if your IT is stolen, they have the ability to retrieve it for you and avoid any type of scam, any type of blackmail, any type of ransom. Call them today at 241-0638. That's 661-241-0638, or hit them online at adaptive-net.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Gail? When I retired, I just let all my taxes pile up. I had gotten many threatening letters. The one that said they were going to try and take my property was probably the scariest. When I found out that I owed close to $300,000, I was in total shock. It was a bad situation. I didn't know what to do. Then Gail found tax relief advocates. When TRA
Who, the
told me
security
I
girl?
was only going to owe $368, I just was in total disbelief. If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Gail did and call TRA for a consultation. I was so blessed with TRA. Visit TRA.com or call 800-544-7357. 800-544-7357. That's 800-544-7357.
Hey man, how's business going these days?
Oh, not that good. I'm really struggling to find qualified employees for my business.
Oh, really? Have you tried reaching out to Employers Training Resource? They understand that having the right staff can significantly impact your company.
Really? How can they assist me?
Well, they promoted my jobs, held the recruitment, and pre-screened my job applicants, and they even set up the interviews, all at no cost. And they even offer financial hiring incentives like on-the-job training.
Wow, that sounds great. How do I get this?
Simple. All you have to do is call Employers Training Resource at 661-325-HIRE. That's 661-325-4473. Or visit their website at employerstrainingresource.com.
This Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act Equal Opportunity Employer Program is funded by the U.S. Department of Labor's Employment and Training Administration. For full federal funding disclosure details, visit employerstrainingresource.com/WDB/federal-funding-disclosure. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Some things I can't get used to, no matter how I try.
What happened to Cher?
This is connected to her somehow.
Barry?
Oh, it says Cher. She's in on this.
No.
Didn't think so either. But I looked up her discography and this was just the next song coming up.
His son is a whole lot younger than I am, but he ended up, I was long gone, I'd gone to Brentwood, but he ended up going to Buckley and was a pretty good baseball player. I think it was his oldest son was a pretty good baseball player. I played against him in an alumni game when I was like 24. I went back to Buckley and played in an alumni game when I was like 24 years old. Just, I don't know why. I have no idea, but he was a good baseball player. Dark as his daddy, dark as a tire. But he was a really good baseball player. Another poll has come out, and Steve Hilton is still on top. Xavier Becerra is right behind him. It's 22-21. Hilton on top. Javier Becerra, 21. Tom Steyer has fallen to 15. Chad Bianco is hovering at 10. He's not going anywhere. And Katie Porter is at 7. Matt Mahan, interesting enough, has fallen. We thought that the last two debates, the one in San Francisco and the one down in Los Angeles, down in Pomona, may have promoted Mahan. He's the most reasonable Democrat that I could find. He's the mayor of San Jose. They love him up there. It's one of the most affluent cities in the state, but he's fallen from 7 to 4. And if you're falling at this point inside of 2 weeks, you're done. Forget about it. Now even Villaraigosa has fallen to 1%. And now it's a matter of, are these guys going to be smart enough to kind of coalesce behind one person? The problem is that none of the Democrats like any of the two leading Democrats, and they know that they're both incompetent. Javier Becerra, as we've told you and played audio from members of his own party, this isn't even Republicans. You know, we played this for Steve Hilton. We had, I don't know if you were with us, but on Monday, we had Steve Hilton on the show. You can go back to YouTube and watch that interview that we did with him. He wasn't in studio, but we played that audio from the Abby Phillips show, where Xochitl Hinojosa, who was a member of the Biden administration, basically came out, and I'm telling you, I wish you could go back and watch the show, because Van Jones, Van Jones, he's a bald-headed, African-American, good-looking black guy who's a huge spokesman. I think it was in the Obama administration, and he's on all the talk shows and Meet the Press and Stephanopoulos, and does a lot of work on CNN, and she's going in on Becerra. And he's sitting there like, oh my God, where he picks up his mug and like hides his face. Cause it's like, it's like she's spilling all the tea. And to hear a fellow Democrat come out against somebody like that, who's in the midst of a gubernatorial race where Hinojosa, let's play it again. Well, we got nothing to do. Find her and Abby Phillip, where she says This isn't my opinion. You can ask anybody that's what was so damning about this audio. She doesn't say, hey, look, I thought he was a bad human health services secretary, or maybe my buddy thought he was. No. Listen to what she describes.
They realized that he was not an effective HHS secretary. And if you ask any cabinet secretary, they would tell you the same thing. And so I think that there is I think people recognize this, and I think this is why Tom Steyer has gone to the top.
When she says the entire cabinet would say you were lousy, that's damaging. And then Abby Phillip comes in and piles on.
This is not the first time that I've heard that, right? Yeah. So what Sochi's talking about is a real thing.
Yeah.
And you kind of got a little bit of a sense of it on the stage tonight, where the attacks against Becerra were not about what he was or wasn't going to do in California. It was about his record in the Biden administration. It was about his character. It was about his leadership. And I do think that's going to be a problem. I'm not sure the Joe Biden adjacent brand is a good brand right now anywhere in this country. And I also think that the HHS situation, when you dig deeper into what he did in that role, that could be a problem for him.
This works out either way. If it's too late because voting's been going on and Becerra is against Hilton, we've got a fighter's chance, because the Republican Party can come out in droves and highlight the lack of leadership. What did she say? Character, his record, and leadership. It wasn't about, none of the attacks during these debates have been, what are you going to do for California? It's, how the hell did your chief of staff steal $250,000 from you and you not know about it? And if you get into that, into the weeds of how they stole, these two people stole, it was a woman and a man, stole this money from him, it's hard to believe that he didn't know anything about it. Everything that they did was hinky. Nothing they did was of normal procedure. And yet somehow he just didn't see it. You're either stupid or you're negligent. And again, when you've got fellow Democrats coming out, and the reason I played that for Hilton is I hope he makes that into an ad. I hope that he leads with that everywhere he goes. Look, this isn't Steve Hilton saying that Javier Becerra was a horrible HHS secretary. This is his fellow Democrats who are questioning his leadership, his record, and his character. I'm telling you, we could win this gubernatorial race. Chad Bianco needs to be a hero. He needs to be a true hero. You wear that sheriff badge, you're willing to put your body in front of bullets, you're ready to protect the citizens, protect the Republican Party. The reality is, and I'm sorry, it's just the reality, Chad Bianco is not going to be in a runoff. But the reality could be that if Chad Bianco stopped right now and threw his 10% to Steve Hilton full-throatedly, vociferously, we could screw around and win this thing. Now, I'm assuming that Mr. Bianco, once he loses, will support him in the general. But if we can get a resounding primary victory, if Steve Hilton can end this thing June 2nd and say that I beat Javier Becerra and Tom Steyer by 10, 15 points, that could give the party the momentum. But most importantly, because I know what you're saying, Ralph, we're not going to have enough momentum to overcome the Democratic numbers, but a blowout win for Steve Hilton could lower the Democratic turnout. That disengaged Democrats who might have voted for Javier Becerra, see him get beat 32-22, they might just stay home. And it certainly would invigorate the Republican Party. That, holy Toledo, what Bailey's been talking about for 6 months is actually happening. We've got a chance. Maybe we should do what he says. Because remember what I've said, it's not enough to vote. It's not. You got to get on the phone. You got to talk to your friends. You got to make sure grandma can get to the polls. You got to make sure that your elderly neighbor can get to the polls, or at least get their ballot and you take it down to Truxton. We've got to work. We've got to work hard. We've got a rare chance, a chance we haven't had in 20 years. Let's take advantage of it. Howard Marcus is next.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche says the U.S. has indicted former Cuban President Raul Castro over the 1996 downing of civilian planes operated by Miami-based exiles.
As alleged in the indictment, Raul Castro and 5 co-defendants participated in a conspiracy that ended with Cuban military aircraft firing missiles at those civilian planes and killing 4 Americans.
The indictment was related to Castro's alleged role in the shoot-down of 2 small planes operated by the exile group Brothers to the Rescue. Castro was Cuba's defense minister at the time. The charges include murder and destruction of an airplane. Congressman Barry Moore and former Navy SEAL Jared Hudson advanced to a runoff Wednesday for the Republican nomination for Alabama's open Senate seat.
Moore is a 3-term congressman endorsed by President Donald Trump, and Hudson is a political newcomer. Moore said the state deserves a, quote, Trump conservative in the Senate, while Hudson has promised to be a, quote, warrior for President Trump's America's First agenda if elected. On the Democrat side, business owner Dakari Lariat and lawyer Everett West are heading to a runoff, but either of them would face an uphill climb in deep red Alabama. The Republican and Democratic runoffs will be held on June 16th. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Speaking at the U.S. Coast Guard Academy commencement today, President Trump says those cadets have shown unbelievable heroism and exceptional selflessness.
You've all been tested. You'll be tested further and probably at higher levels as your career goes on, but you've been very strongly tested and you have what it takes.
On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average up by 645 points. The Nasdaq rose 399. The S&P advanced 79. Oil dropped below $99 a barrel. More at townhall.com.
Looking for a great real estate agent? Someone who can help you sell your home fast and for top dollar? Go to ready.com, REDY.com. Because on Ready, agents will pay you just for the opportunity to sell your home. Yeah, on Ready, agents will pay you for your listing. Thousands of dollars up front just for a chance to sell your home. And it's easy. Just go to ready.com, enter your address, and when you want to sell. In just 48 hours, the best local agents are competing on Ready to be your agent.
I still had to use
with
my
cash
wallet
offers
pay.
up front just to win your business.
So I go to the
Hey,
thing. I'm
your
at the
listing
cash
is
register.
valuable. Don't give it away. Make those agents earn it. Get paid to pick your real estate agent. Go to ready.com or call 800-885-REDY. 800-885-READY.
The first.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
What the video shows. I'm Chris Davis. The body cam video from the Porterville incident in which Tulare County Detective Randy Hoppert was killed April 9th and suspect David Morales was run over intentionally by a Kern County SWAT vehicle has been released by the Kern County Sheriff's Office.
Keep setting up. Character being deployed. Additional gunshot fire.
Only part of the video has audio, but you can hear the shots being fired at the vehicle. Kern County Deputy Chad Clark was put on administrative leave after the incident and while the investigation continues. The search for 16-year-old Irene Cruz. She's been missing since about 7:30 Tuesday morning, say Bakersfield police, and that was along Smuggler's Cove Street, which is just south of Panama Lane. Cruz is described as 5 feet tall, 110 pounds. She has black hair, brown eyes, a nose piercing, and was wearing a black T-shirt, blue jeans, and black shoes. Police are asking for tips. So far, the river fire, which is the one at the mouth of Kern Canyon, has burned about 3,500 acres of vegetation, says CAL FIRE, but it is now about 70% contained, with firefighters on the ground and fire retardant being dumped by airplanes. Highway 178 is back open in the area after being closed for a couple of days. A civil rights attorney from Kern County is now running for lieutenant governor of California. Oliver Moss says what inspired him to run is the immigration enforcement situation. The 28-year-old says his platform will be protecting the families and tells Turn to 23 that he believes affordable housing can be accomplished partially by defunding ICE. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
To the rest well, in a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want. Too late. They start shooting in a week. I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcasts on this Wednesday, 20th day of May. Still lots to do. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, you will hear from the president on the Iranian situation. I am promising you there will be no more bombing. The president says we're ready to go. And the IRGC says they're willing to extend beyond the region if, in fact, attacks begin again. We'll get into that a little bit. Coming up at 5, Dr. Stacy Pfluger, now no longer interim president. They took off that title. We will talk and congratulate her. And coming up at 5, we'll talk baseball. Exciting ball game last night. The Padres, did you see this? Your boy Miller literally and figuratively threw away the ball game. Did you see it? See what happens? We were down 4-2, and Freddie hit a home run. Freddie hit 2 home runs last night. That's good to see. So we're back 4-4, and it's top of the 9th, and Call gets on first base. And apparently Doc tells him, go on first move, because Miller's a reliever, but Joe Davis had just said he doesn't give up stolen bases. So Call goes on first move. Are you even listening to me?
I'm listening. I'm sorry.
What did I say?
You were going on first move?
You weren't even listening to me. But yeah, Call was going on first move.
Yeah.
And Miller turns to throw, and he's got it. He's picked off. And Miller does the Little League thing and throws it into right field. And Call gets to third. And Andy Paez, who I think is the MVP of this ball club, still hitting over 300, and he somehow battles. He's 0-2, gets 11 pitch at bat, 0-2, down 0-2. And Miller's stats when he's 0-2, I'll get to you in a second, Howard. Don't panic. His stats when he's 0-2 is like 86% he gets the guy out. And somehow Paez fights it off, fly ball to right field. We score. And guess who came in and got the save? It looked great. Say it. Go ahead and say it.
Tanner Scott?
66. Came in, 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, I think he did let somebody on, but exciting win. We jump back into first place, and Shohei goes in about an hour and a half. It's an early start tonight, about 5:40. In the meantime, what's really going on, Howard?
Howdy.
What's happening?
Every week, something, always something.
Oh, what is it now, Howard? How's the health?
Life in general. No, I'm just saying it's always something. Whether it's rural news, personal news, who knows,
Yeah, what's on your
We live
mind?
in interesting times, the old Chinese curse.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
Like, what do you want to talk about? Well, geez, the list is endless.
Yeah, you see Xi with Putin?
Oh, my God.
God,
Talk about an axis of evil.
I know. Couldn't you just slip a suitcase in there?
It's like, he didn't walk there. It's like, we know how they get to these places. We have the ability to track these planes. I guess they don't want to escalate to that point, though. Wouldn't it be nice if Putin's plane had a mid-air malfunction of some sort?
Yeah, but we don't want to start
Putin's
that.
the real threat. The Chinese, right now at least, they can be sort of managed because we're in a Cold War scenario with them. Almost not a hot war, but a Cold War. Putin is obviously the bigger threat at this point.
Really? I would disagree with that.
He's engaged in open warfare with Ukraine. He's not going to stop at Ukraine. He's
No.
going to continue. But China is just doing. They have a much longer game plan. They're just going to leverage this bit by bit.
Exactly.
Worldwide.
Exactly.
So
that's why I
deal
feel.
with that. We we have time. But the Russians are an immediate threat.
See, that's why I fear China more, because I don't think we are doing enough to stave off their long plan.
No, we're not. We're not. You know, the fact that, as I think we said a while ago, I just thought it was insane for the whole rant that, you know, look, I agree with Trump on about 90% of the stuff. But when he talks about how our university is going to suffer if we don't let 600,000 Chinese spies in as students,
yeah,
you know, and they're going to go bankrupt, it's like these are all going to elite universities that are left progressive gym mills anyways. You know, they're not going to technical trade schools. They're not learning arts and sciences. They're all there to basically take our stuff.
And they're here, the Chinese
They're here already.
spies. We just found out. Did you see the story of the Arcadia mayor?
Oh, yeah, spy. Yeah, actively being paid.
The Arcadia mayor, where Santa Anita racetrack is located in Los Angeles, was just indicted as a Chinese spy.
Well, and they tell you, all these students that are telling you that their families that are in China they're forced to spy for the Chinese, because if they have any family left in China, they use that for coercive reasons.
Yep.
You know, and it's a no-brainer. Don't let them in. Just don't.
I agree.
And if the universities want more people in, how about lowering the tuition for $50,000 a year? You know, for a useless degree in basket weaving or drama,
philosophy.
You know, if I had a kid, he'd be going to trade school or the military. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
The last thing I do is send him to a college just so I can have him indoctrinated against my own lifestyle.
Yeah.
But anyways, no, they're the biggest threat. They're the biggest threat, and we know we're not doing enough.
I agree. What do you think of the two officers suing Trump on the $1.8 billion fund for the J6ers, as they're calling them now?
Well, I don't want to get into that, to be honest, because we're keeping each other for a half hour. I looked at the average sentence, and there was some real civil rights violation. The average sentence for somebody who had their right in the Constitution for a fair trial, I just read this, is 6 times longer than those that pled out to a misdemeanor. And the longest sentence, on average, was longer than a murder conviction. Some of the leaders of this uprising, you can call it uprising, 22-year sentences. You get less sentence for manslaughter. That was the problem. It wasn't that they were, and you look at how many Antifa and BLM people who actually burned buildings down, shot at police, burned police cars, openly rioted and looted. Not one of them did jail time. And the Democratic Party, as you know, funded their bail. So you can, I don't have any problem if you're going to be fair across the board. If you're going to have a uprising of any sort, rioting, we just call it rioting. If you call it rioting and you treat everybody equally, I'm cool with that. If you decide for political reasons to take one group, which is what they did, and make an example of them, far exceeding the guidelines for sentencing, and you violate their civil rights to the point where people sat 2 years in jail without trial, far exceeding the right to a speedy trial under the Constitution, far exceeding, we have murderers that are serving less time. We have murderers that got to trial faster. So you can't do that and then expect people to have faith in the system unless you're applying it equally. And if they did that to Antifa or BLM, the outrage from the left, they'd be screaming. And so I looked at the whole thing as, you can sue all you want. They have a right to do so. Whether they have a cause, well, the courts will decide that. Hopefully a fair trial in a fair court for it's a civil case. But the reality of it is, I wanted to apply it equally. And I just got done reading when you were talking. So I'm going to look up some of this stuff. And I looked at the sentencing, I almost fell over. The average sentence was way excessive, which is the reason for the pardon. And they had guys that slept on the floor for a year. They had one guy that had Democratic, I don't know how to put it any other way, propaganda piped into his jail cell 24/7. They did deprivation, and that's the reason for the pardons. And he was right. He cited it, that the federal judges, not Trump-appointed judges, actually asked for judicial review and congressional review of the conditions the prisoners were in. It was that egregious. And even then, it still took years. We're talking about a sentencing from, 5 years later?
But is this something new?
Well, we've always had that problem. I mean, that's
exactly
the problem.
So what makes them so special?
200 years.
But what makes them so special after they ransacked the Capitol?
Well, again, if you don't apply equal justice for equal violations, you're just fueling conspiracy theories, which is what's happening, and you're fueling distrust of the government. If I can't look at somebody from Antifa or BLM or any of these crazies that are running around attacking ICE, and they're not doing jail time, and they're being released, or the prosecutors in the blue states and cities are refusing to even prosecute, well, you've got to have an equal standard.
But shouldn't we think about the party? Shouldn't we think about political wins? The only way to play this game is to win. You put people in place and you change legislation, you change the world. But if you do things that defeat the the whole point of the game, and that is to win, then what are you doing? And if you're going to spend $1.8 billion when people are struggling, when gas prices are going up, and most of the country can't come up with $1,000 if they had to in 24 hours, and you're going to spend almost $2 billion, and you're going to spend another $1 billion in a ballroom.
Those are apples and oranges.
It's money. It's money, Howard. It's money.
Wait.
It's tons and tons of money that's being spent that can be spent for much better reasons.
Each case has to be reviewed. I read how those funds are being administered. It's not just, hey, I was there, give me money. You have to show there was actual harm caused to you. You can't be, hey, I was there and I got yelled at by a judge. No, it has to be actual harm. And in addition, it's not about wasting money. Look at the problems we have with just eliminating fraud with the Medicare and everything else that's going on. 1.8 billion of people who had their civil rights violated. That's the whole reason for the funding. It's not we're just going to give you money. We've done that in the past. Each Japanese that was in prison during World War II received $20,000. 100,000 of them. Do the math. 20,000 each. 50 years later, and nobody complained because we understood what happened. Their deprivation of
exactly.
Well, this is the same case. If they can,
this is not the same case. To just to round up Japanese because we're at war, and you're going to compare those to people that rioted and looted the Capitol.
Ralph, you're missing my point, which I've made repeatedly. If their civil rights were violated beyond the norms of the time, which they were for a great many of these guys, if they had prison sentences handed down, one prison sentence alone for one guy who was not violent, he was a Proud Boy, 22-year sentence, far exceeding the sentencing guidelines.
And he was a Proud Boy.
Well, I don't care if he was a Klansman. If the sentencing,
well, see, I do. Call me crazy. Ralph,
I do. You're making an example out of him, Ralph. You're making an example that is not equal justice.
Yeah.
You're just saying you're saying you don't care about equal justice. Then you have a problem.
Because there's no such thing as equal justice.
Well, there should be.
Is there? Okay. Prior to this, was there equal justice in America?
Yeah, there was at times.
Really?
Yeah, because you look at the case of for example, to watch the movie Mississippi Burning. The civil rights violations during the civil rights marches of the '60s. The federal government had to step in.
Howard, why don't we talk about the incident rather than the movie?
Well, the movie is
the movie's fiction.
The movie's fiction, but or Medgar Evers. They went after these guys. Some of these guys decades later to try and get final justice, right? So you try and correct it. Is justice perfect? No, it never was. We don't have we don't have a crystal ball to read it in people's minds, but you strive for judicial equality in sentencing and everything else. And when it's obviously flawed or one-sided, for either side, right or left, it's wrong. And you can't say because I don't like their political views is what you're saying. They deserve a harsher sentence.
Then I should support reparations. Then.
Well, there was a joke that I just saw recently made by, of all people, Rob Schneider.
Oh, I'm sure.
They're talking about reparations in California. And he said, I want you to think about this. A state that never had slaves is paying reparations to people that never were slaves, taking money from people that never owned slaves. That's an example. And my answer to that always was, where's the reparations for the 400,000 Union soldiers that died freeing slaves? That entire generations of families never occurred because of their deaths. It's a trade-off. And you're right, justice is never equal, but that's a standard we all strive to be.
It's hilarious, though, Howard. You're comparing Union soldiers, people that were free men who did their job and died for their government, which is what the army is supposed to do, to people who were enslaved and were considered not to have souls and weren't even part of the Constitution when the Constitution was written. Well, in fact, even the Supreme Court chimed in and Dred Scott and said that black folks don't have any souls, have the ability to vote, or have any. Can I just finish the sentence, Howard? You go ahead. You go ahead.
I'm just saying, we're talking about living descendants. For example, the Japanese internees were alive and got compensation. You show me a black slave that is alive, give him all the money he wants. But third, fourth, and fifth generations later, in a supposedly society that we've had affirmative action and equal rights and the Civil Rights Voting Act, we've done as much as we can, reasonably can, obviously, try to right wrongs. And to say that a descendant who's not a slave, to take money from people that would never own slaves, again, my point, How is that fair? How my family came over here. My father is a Holocaust survivor, World War II, so he should pay in to reparations. Some of my family came here after the Civil War, obviously in the 1900s. World War II refugees or European immigrants. Why are they paying into the system for that?
And I should pay into a system that's going to pay people that broke into the Capitol.
You should pay into a system that people suffered a civil rights violation and injustice, regardless of party, right or left, that are alive today. That's the only difference, Ralph. If we're talking about 100 years from now to try and pay the descendants of January 6th, that'd be just as silly as paying reparations to somebody 150 years later.
And you think that terrorism and black oppression ended with the Emancipation Proclamation?
Of course not. Look, Ralph.
Okay, then. So why do we have to allude to slavery? We can't talk about what my grandfather went through. We can't go through what my parents went through, who weren't allowed to vote when they. Go ahead, Howard. I'll just shut up. Shut up. You go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No,
go
ahead.
Why would you get a check for what your grandfather went through? Why do you get a check?
Because I'm the descendant of a man who didn't have the rights that I have today, or that you've had, or your family's had their entire stay here.
My family didn't have it. I remember being, without using, I don't think we'll get beat. I was called up until 1964 for the Second Vatican Council. I was called a Christ killer to kike personally as a child, as a teenager, derogatory terms. So I suffered discrimination. Jews not allowed. There are still country clubs in the United States, by the way, that have barred membership. What are they called? That we want to talk about, like what the golf courses have gone through. That still happens. And so, did I ask for a check because I was subject to religious
and again, your comparisons are laughable, Howard. I'm sorry.
Because it's real.
You're talking about not being allowed to go to a country club and black folks being able to vote in the last 61 years?
But Ralph, that's the point.
Black folks have gained the right to vote in your lifetime. And your comparison is you can't go to a Riviera Country Club?
No, but I have a problem with paying checks to people that do get to vote, and then we're not subject to discrimination, regardless of ethnic or religious background. Regardless, take the entire race thing out of it. If you didn't personally suffer it, if you're just saying
so my parents didn't suffer through this.
Well,
my father wasn't barred. My father wasn't barred from going to white public schools in Beaufort, South Carolina. My father wasn't barred from going to black college. Howard, you got to let me finish, son.
Go ahead.
My father wasn't barred from going to white colleges. My father wasn't barred from going to white medical schools. My mother wasn't barred from going to this. My parents weren't allowed to vote when they were 18 years old.
But you did.
You're talking about this is generations and generations. We're talking about my parents, Howard.
But not you. Give them a check, not you. That's fine. I have no problem.
Well, my dad's passed away and my mother's 84 years old, so I should get the check.
Why?
Because you don't think their life, you don't think that
college, Ralph, you're a black man on the air in a free audience. You went to college. As far as I know, you've suffered nothing in Bakersfield that I'm aware of. You would have talked about it.
No, I wouldn't have.
My father get a check from Germany. He's not here anymore. How about the parents? How about the American Indians? Are we going to give every person that claims descendant? Is this Warren with their 2% getting a check for reparations?
We have. They're called casinos.
The Irish need not apply. People get it. When the Irish need not apply was a sign posted. When Catholics were denigrated, did they get a check? Where do you stop it, Ralph?
I don't know. You don't have a problem not stopping it when it comes to criminals.
No, I
don't know where we stop it, but we don't start it with criminals.
Well, injustice is injustice, Ralph.
But you're arguing against the injustice. You're selectively picking who gets the checks.
Yeah, yes, people that suffered it personally, not the descendants 100 years later.
Hundreds of years. We're talking about my parents.
The reparations aren't the reparations design by statement is for the descendants of Civil War slaves. Correct?
Are you telling me that if my father had my father gone to Harvard, my life wouldn't be different?
Is that what the reparations are for, Ralph?
What are you talking about?
The reparations that they're proposing are for descendants of black slaves, correct? Or not?
Yes.
Okay. Was your father a slave?
He is the grandson of a slave.
Okay. We'll mail the check to your grandfather. He's not around anymore, I assume, obviously.
That's
what you're just trying. You're drawing a tenuous link.
Because the people that are the people that were unjustly wronged aren't here. So of course it should go to their descendants. Why shouldn't it go to their descendants?
Because the people that are paying for it, the people that are paying in, didn't cause the problem. And the reality is, my birth father was a full Native American, was taken out of the tribe forcibly, settled with a white family against his will, given a white name. Does he get a check?
Yes, he should.
But he's
He absolutely
alive. So
should.
will I get his check?
Yes, you should.
Why?
Yes, you should.
That's the problem. You cannot draw the line. You're talking about wasting 1.8 billion. When you have 330 million, they're all going to come up with a reason for repression.
Exactly. So then why should the criminals get it then? I agree.
Why? No one should
get it. Okay, we're on board. No one should get it. But no, we shouldn't set aside $2 billion for these rioters. That's for certain.
No, they actually suffered injustice. They can sue individually and still get the money. And that's what will happen. When a guy's wrongfully in prison for 20 years, you know they get compensated. The government gives them a check.
Well, I'm on the side of the Capitol Police. Call me crazy.
I'm on the side of civil rights.
Okay, that's the side we're on. Say hi to Mary. Have a great week. We'll wrap to you next week.
All right, guys.
Howard Marcus. Quick timeout. Not a lot of time. We'll get to the bottom of the hour. We'll check the board, see what you all are talking about. You hear from the president on the willingness to restart the war. That's all coming up. And then Dr. Stacy Pfluger at the top of the hour. I'd stick around if I you.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Hey, Randy says bring your cell phone. We'll figure it out.
Has arrived, and it's time to plan the summer road trip. And what better car to do it in than a brand new Subaru? And if you want something sporty and comfortable, then the choice is clear. The Outback. And now, through June 1st, lease a 2026 Outback Premium CVT for only $229 a month for 36 months and just $5,000 due at signing. Plus, every Subaru comes standard with symmetrical all-wheel drive. However, offer ends June 1st. So stop by, see my dear friends Damon Culbertson, Hassan Levy, and test drive a brand new Outback today. Sangera Subaru, paving the way for a better community. 5500 Gasoline Alley Drive in the Bakersfield Auto Mall.
Lease a 2026 Subaru Outback Premium CVT with TSRP $37,158, $229 per month plus tax for 36 months. Total lease payment $8,800, $5,021 total lease signing. Total lease cost $13,857. No security deposit. Lease based on 7,500 miles per year, 15 cents per mile over. Available to qualified customers through Subaru Motor Finance. On approved credit expires 6/126. Excludes optional equipment and dealer installed accessories. VIN number TY46213.
Are you looking for a hospital that truly cares for your health and well-being? At Good Samaritan Hospital, they provide high-quality medical detox, psychiatric services, and medical and surgical care. They accept most insurances, including Medi-Cal, Medicare, and Kern Family. They offer Kern County's longest-standing inpatient detox program with dual diagnosis that combines medical care and withdrawal management all under one roof. Learn more at GoodSamaritanHospital.com or call 661-215-7500. Good Samaritan Hospital. They care for their community.
Is the volatility of the stock market
Apple
driving
Pay.
you crazy? Is your retirement account sinking, yet you're getting older?
Apple with a capital
and you're starting to worry
Apple
about,
Pay,
will I have enough for retirement? What about the money in the bank? These banks pay nothing these days. How do we get growth to get to retirement account? It's simple. Move into
Pay.
gold and silver. Want to
What'd
know
I
how to
say?
do it? Listen to my show, Striking Gold, with me, Kenny Michaels.
Hey, folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to The Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Didn't think I would denigrate into an argument about reparations because I am not in favor of reparations. But if a criminal who broke a glass and rolled through the Capitol and screamed Hank Mike Pence can get a check, then damn, I should get a check. Damn right. Stupid. It's dumb. It's dumb. 842-5376. We headed to the back half of the hour. Coming up at the top of the hour, Dr. Stacy Pfluger is going to join us, the new president of Bakersfield College. She is now the permanent president. They removed the interim from her first name. You hear from the president after the break. The IRGC says they are willing to expand the war if the bombing continues. The president says we're locked and loaded. We'll get after that right after these important words.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Former Cuban President Raul Castro has been charged in a U.S. indictment with murder and other crimes for his alleged role in the downing of two civilian aircraft operated by Miami-based exiles in 1996 off the coast of the Caribbean island. Acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche announced the indictment in Miami on Wednesday. New Mexico authorities say 3 people are dead and more than a dozen first responders are being treated for exposure to an unidentified substance after being called to a rural home for a suspected drug overdose. New Mexico State Police say 3 of the 4 people who were found unresponsive inside the home east of Albuquerque have died. The 4th was being treated at a hospital. On Wall Street, the Dow buys 645 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Do that from the go to the lock screen, like how it's.
You owe 10.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN newsroom.
Body cam video released Tuesday by the Kern County Sheriff's Office shows the moments leading up to suspect David Morales being run over intentionally by a Kern County Sheriff's Office SWAT vehicle in Porterville, where they were assisting Tulare County deputies in subduing David Morales after he shot and killed Tulare County Detective Randy Hoppert. The rifle shots that hit the SWAT vehicle can be heard. Highway 178 is open again after being closed for a couple of days because of the river fire at the mouth of Kern Canyon. So far, that fire has burned about 3,500 acres and is now 70% contained. The Lightning in a Bottle Festival, which is Kern County's largest outdoor music festival, begins today and goes for 5 days at the Buena Vista Lake Aquatic Recreation Area. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Are you serious? Apparently, at the summit. Well, I mean, I go in there like literally two days, every 2 days. I get 2 bottles on Monday and on Thursday. I know. It was like $9. I got a Gatorade and 2 waters. And I was like, are you serious? Cute little Latino
Carpet Plus installed over 1 million square feet of flooring last year alone. Over 20 years, Bakersfield's best flooring store means you can trust us with your hardwood, laminate, vinyl, and of course, carpet. Come in
Dude,
today
I've been
to
going
see
a
over
lot.
100 waterproof floors from our in-stock inventory. It's probably been time to change your floors for a while, so call, click, or stop by today. Your free in-home estimate is waiting for you. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
I was like, oh, I don't have my car. She goes, you can put it on. And she had me work.
Warmer weather is finally here, and that means cookouts, ball games, and maybe enjoying some time on the water.
But it also means lots of heavy food,
tomorrow.
sweets, and maybe an extra adult beverage or two. Thank goodness we both take Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All the things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
With trusted natural ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Active Liver helps us enjoy the good things in life with peace of mind that our liver isn't working overtime. Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com, and you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
In 2026, Bay Alarm celebrates 80 years of security. With burglar and fire alarm systems, 24/7 in-house monitoring, and local service, our promise to the Central Valley remains the same. We got you. Learn more at bayalarm.com.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
No, I haven't taken a look yet. Like the 28th? I got to check with Nick. 842-537-6842 KERN. We're on wall-to-wall share. Play that turn up a little bit. She turns 80 today. Marry her right now. Right now. She walked in this room, I would drop to a knee and beg. Beg. How many times has she been married? Let's look up shares. Where's my phone? You've been using. I got to change my password. I gave my.
Let's see.
My Apple
Google
password.
says she's been married twice.
Just twice?
Just twice.
Just to Sonny, and don't tell me, the musician, with the long hair.
4-year gap.
God, what was his name? He had like, his blonde hair was so blonde it was like white. What was his name?
Greg Allman.
Greg Allman, of course. I knew that. Ugh. But she's dated everybody. She was on, what's that British show? They call it a chat show with the gay guy.
Oh, and they're all on the orange couch.
Yes.
Oh God, I can't remember
What is that called, y'all? Somebody will chime in here.
I know. I watch his videos all the time, but I never know the name of that show.
She was on that, and she broke down all. Because he asked anything. It's like, give us your all-star list of boyfriends, and she went through a horde of young men that she used to date. And why not?
Graham Norton show.
Graham Norton. That's exactly what it is. The Graham Norton show. 842-537-6842 KERN. What do you got on the board?
Mr. Bailey, you often use the term intellectual honesty. I have also heard you refer to yourself as a journalist. Well, I have just heard you sign off for a commercial talking about we, quote unquote, needing to take the gubernatorial election, clearly meaning the Republican Party, and without question citing yourself with that organization. You can't be both a journalist and partisan. I think it's important of you to be intellectually honest.
Are you serious? Would you get over yourself? I'm obviously not a journalist. When I say that I consider myself a journalist, that's all I wanted to do in my life. And I stumbled staggeringly, haphazardly into radio because I needed a gig. I figured I'd go into radio until I could get another television job. I've never interviewed with 17. I got fired from 23, got fired from 29. Or no, I forgot Teresa Goldner. My contracts weren't renewed. Remember, she said the Open Door Network did not get fired. They didn't have their contract renewed. Well, I didn't have my contract renewed. And 2 days after I got whacked, a woman who watched me on television told her husband, Chris Porphyry, who was trying to start a morning radio show, that the black guy that we like on 29 is no longer there. Why don't you ask him? I got fired on a Monday. I met with Chris on a Thursday. I was in his office on Monday. I was on the air the following Monday. And I figured I would do this until I could get a TV job. And then it dawned on me that you get a check every 2 weeks for talking for 3 hours and going home. And I was like, I think I can do this, because it was about the same money I was making on TV. And so I never looked back. But I still consider myself a journalist only because I'm the only radio talk shows that I'm aware of that actually breaks stories. I was the one who told you Christian Clegg was coming to town. This radio show. If I had to really sit down and think about it, but it's horrible radio because I'd have to stop and think, I could give you 4 or 5 or 6 other incidents where this show has broken stories. But quite obviously, I am not a journalist. I am in a genre of opinion people, where you listen to this radio show to hear my opinion, whether you like it or not. Half my audience despises my take, but I do it in a manner in which it's entertaining enough or angering enough where they hang around and call in and insult me and make stupid comments like I'm not being intellectually honest by calling myself a journalist, even though a 12-year-old could see what I do for a living. So I'll stop, just to appease you, sir or ma'am, I will stop referencing myself as a journalist. I won't stop breaking stories, because all that's about is getting people to trust you and get them to tell you things they have no business telling you. I did that for a living for 20 years, And I've been doing it now for 22 years in this radio show where we continue to break stories. But just to be sure that I'm intellectually honest, I will stop calling myself a journalist. And for the rest of the listeners, I'm sorry, that's 4 minutes of your life you will never get back because I have to answer redonkulous questions like that. Good. Of all the things I've said today, this guy has a problem with me calling. I'm getting all prepared to, fight with people about reparations. All right, let's go. Let's go. I'm ready. They're going to support Howard. I know. Let's go. Come on. And this guy wants me to stop calling myself a journalist. Okay. It's done. I'll never call myself a journalist again. Any more dumb questions, Chris?
We got a couple.
You're supposed to say no, Ralph. Don't you listen to Travis and Jason? There are no dumb questions. What do you got?
This one's not a dumb question.
All right,
but
good.
This one just says, Howard is completely wrong on this one. The Confederate flag being put up in our Capitol is just as bad as the Russian flag. Yet he feels compassionate for those people. How insane.
Just saying. Just saying. And they were violent. They were searching for Mike Pence. And let us not forget what their mission was. Their mission was to stop the election. It was all because Mike Pence did the right thing. Mr. Trump egged them on by saying, we don't like Mike very much right now. Although the Democrats are just as hypocritical because whenever they show that piece, they never show the entire piece where he said, we're going to go down there peacefully. But I think he was an instigator in this as well. What else you got?
The ballroom is being privately funded. Get your facts straight, Ralph.
Yet another dumb question. The president is asking for $1 billion in security. It's been in all the papers. Normally I say that sarcastically, but I mean that. It's been in all the papers. So you need to go Google it because we're going to give him, if this is successful, $1 billion of taxpayer money. So no, it's not free. I don't know where have you been, if you just got back from vacation and you've been underneath a rock or something, but even the president's most ardent supporters are aware that he's asking for $1 billion of taxpayer money for security. They were like, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot. We've got to pay the Secret Service. He's asking for $1 billion. So no, you get your facts right. Is this what this show is going to be all about all day? Just answering dumb questions? What else you got?
Mario's on the phone for you.
Oh, finally, somebody with some intelligence. What's really going on, Mario?
Well, I appreciate it, but it's kind of questionable. I just want to say I listen to you because of your opinion and your breaking stories, and it's about 60-40 that I agree with you. But this is the textbook definition of the slippery slope, this whole Donald Trump slush fund.
Yeah.
Because now if you're saying, well, the government wronged me, well, starting with African Americans, Native Americans, even Hispanic Americans now have a foothold on, I was wronged by the government, you owe me money. And I'm not saying whether it's equitable or fair or not, but if that's the argument they're using, then it's a slippery slope.
It is.
You're now eligible for reparations, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not for reparations, but in the same, if this goes through, then I'm getting in line. And so are a bunch of other folks and a bunch of other groups, and it's crazy. We just need to drop the whole thing. We've never seen a president do anything like this. And I was shocked when Howard said he didn't want to talk about it. I was shocked. I didn't think he would support this. I really didn't, because we've never, ever seen this in American history. And yet, people just go along with this guy. I don't understand how he does it. He is amazing.
Well, I will say this, going forward, Massey has got 7 months more in office.
Yeah.
And he's made it pretty obvious he's going to be a pain in his side.
Yeah.
And I'm being very polite about that.
Yeah.
And now Cornyn has no reason to support Trump anymore.
Yeah, Cornyn's done. Cornyn can't win that Senate seat, and then we're going to lose it to Tellerico.
I agree. Yeah,
it's unfortunate.
So,
and then and when we lose the Senate, Mario, you know what's going to happen? They're going to dump the filibuster. I'm telling you.
Well, I still don't agree. I don't believe that. I don't.
That the Democrats won't?
I don't. No.
I hope you're right.
I mean, because everything about the Senate is based on precedent. That's why we have bird bath thing and the filibuster and all that. And I think I believe in my years of paying attention to political history that the Senate tends to be, or it should be, the more logical, where it's pretty obvious the House is just a free-for-all.
Right. That's the way it was set up. That's why they have the longest term of any legislator in America. But it's changed.
Exactly.
Didn't they try to change the filibuster and fell short?
Well, I know they reduce it down to, I thought it was a lot larger than 60.
And cloture.
Yeah. But I'm a little rusty, so
yeah. I need to look that up too. But I got a feeling because their biggest gripe is the Supreme Court, and that's why they're going to change the filibuster. And the first thing they will do will pack the court, in my opinion.
I think there's just too much precedent for, even given the whole situation and their complete hate of MAGA. I don't think Schumer is that petty.
Ooh, I think you give him way too much credit, and they're gonna run his butt out anyway. I don't think Schumer's got long to last. They're not big fans of his. The party isn't.
Well, no, they're not. But again, I think there's enough. You could say that about the Republicans too, because Trump's been all over Thune to have him drop the filibuster, and he still hasn't.
Yeah.
So I don't see it.
And Thune is upset with the president over the endorsement of Ken Paxton.
Yeah.
They are heartbroken about that because even if Paxton wins, it's another $125 million the party has to spend that they would have never had to spend with John Cornyn as the candidate. But we'll see what happens.
It's closer to $600 or $600 million if you include the money that Cornyn generated for them.
Yeah, true that. That's a good point. All right, Mario.
Take care.
Always good to see you. How's your daughter doing?
I'm sorry?
How's your daughter doing?
Oh, she's doing good. She was here last week she had to go down to LA for the comedy festival.
Yeah.
So she's doing good.
Good.
Still no extra Dodger tickets.
I was going to say, now she stabbed us in the back and left Frank McCourt.
I agree.
I'm just kidding. All right, man. Take care. Always good to hear from you.
You too.
All right, let's go. Mario's daughter used to work for Frank McCourt, former owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers, who still owns the parking lot. Did you know that? Every time you go down there, you're putting more money in Frank McCourt's pockets. I got to interview Frank McCourt the week that they sent me to Vero Beach. Very nice man. I got to interview his wife, and I became friends with one of his sons, Drew. And I think the kid liked me because I had no idea who he was. We were sitting in the bleachers at Vero Beach. And I'm just talking with him. And what do you do? And he goes, I'm the assistant general manager. And the kid's 22 years old. And I'm like, you're the assistant general manager? And I go, congratulations, kid. You're doing well in life. And he goes, well, apparently you don't know who I am. And I go, what are you, some big time celebrity? He goes, no, but my dad's Frank McCourt. And I started laughing, and he started laughing. I said, who cares? You won the lottery. Congratulations. We had a great time. The kid loved me. But he was a horrible owner. God, he damn near ruined the ball club. If you, again, one of my favorite shows in my 22 years of radio is when we got a hold of the divorce settlement between he and Mrs. McCord, it was startling. You know what they used to do? They were so rich. When they were in Los Angeles, they came from Boston. They would buy a home and then outbid the neighbor. In other words, if Chris Burdick, I buy a house next to Chris Burdick's and I want his house, they were so rich that they would make an offer Burdick couldn't refuse. Burdick might have lived there for 20 years. They moved out. Who was Ross's sister on Friends?
Jennifer.
No, the other one.
Meg. Oh God.
The brunette. But you know what I'm talking about,
The chick
right?
from Scream. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So they bought a house in Malibu.
Courtney Cox.
They bought a house in Malibu, the McCourts did, next to Courtney Cox. They wanted to buy that house for the kids, for the 4 boys. And they gave her so much money, she just said, I got to take it. And they would buy mutual homes. They did the same thing in Beverly Hills. They did the same thing in Malibu. Can you imagine having that kind of money where you're buying homes for your children next door to you? The Reiners did the same thing. We found out during the murder that the daughter lived right across the street from Rob Reiner. Let me tell you something. I don't give a damn what that girl doing. At 28 years old, she could not afford a house in Brentwood. Just saying. Not across the street from her mega $1 million daddy. Unless daddy was having a island bag, you know what I'm saying? Quick time out. The BC president, Dr. Stacy Pfluger, joins us at the top of the hour. I would stick around if I you. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and
To
AM
Philly?
1230.
Round trip?
KERN.
Really?
First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the
Wow,
Thursday edition of the
that's
First
not
Look
bad.
program, we're broadcasting live from
Straight
Compassion
trip?
Corner over at Channel 17. We're having ourselves a blood drive with Houchin Community
Where-
Blood Bank.
where was
Dr.
it?
Corey will join us to help us out with our mental health stuff. And we have all the news, traffic, and weather you could ask for. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1, AM 1230. Streaming live on the internet at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1
On what?
and AM 1230. KERN.
You know what I forgot to bring up with Steve Hilton? Have you all seen the brilliant ad that he did with Cassie Biddle, owner, operator, KC Steakhouse? In fact, Mr. Hilton was sitting at my chair at the bar in the ad, but that's beside the point. It's a brilliant ad, and who better to go to than a woman who is so
5:30?
ensconced in our community. She's part of
Yeah,
the
that's
planning
probably the way to
commission.
go.
She sat in for me Friday, and she runs an 89-year-old restaurant. It is one of the most iconic restaurants in all of Kern County. She's just absolutely fantastic. And all I'll say about Cassie Biddle is please stand by for some future excursions on her part. But in the meantime, where would you rather be than 2515 F Street? The capable hands are incredible staff. Best steak in town. Go next door to the Speakeasy Lake Bar, the Stockyard. Haley's there Thursday, Fridays, and Saturday nights. Lottie's there providing music. And of course, Jimmy and Bobby are in the main restaurant Tuesday through Saturday. Where would you rather be than on F Street at KC Steakhouse? Longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be 1,000,000 miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being 1,000,000 miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Dr. Roland Rodriguez.
Hello, this is Bakersfield General Surgeon Dr. Roland Rodriguez, client and friend of Mr. Paul Sheldon. It is my great pleasure and privilege to relate to all of you my absolute exemplary experience with Team Paul Sheldon. I have also referred a number of my colleagues to Paul Sheldon's office. only to receive the most stellar feedback from my doctor friends regarding the office's expert navigation through the complex maze that is Medicare. And even though Paul Sheldon himself is now facing some temporary health challenges, his long-standing and most experienced and expertly trained team of ladies, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn, continue to masterfully guide the clients through the complicated world of Medicare. You most definitely could not possibly do any better than to reach out to Paul Sheldon several months before turning 65. Thank you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
What's the best Cher movie? There's some good ones. Moonstruck, I just saw a couple of months ago. Silkwood is a really good film. She's not really the star. Meryl Streep is the star of the film.
I think probably the most memorable for people would be Mamma Mia.
Never saw it.
Burlesque, I guess.
Burlesque?
I remember that one.
No, I never
2010.
Never saw that either. Never saw that either.
Her and Christina Aguilera.
Yeah, never saw it.
Pretty good movie.
I barely saw Moonstruck. Barely saw Moonstruck. Do you know what came on the other night, though? To Sir with Love. I bet none of you have seen that movie, and it is a great picture. It is the greatest, in my opinion, it's the greatest acting year of any actor in my lifetime. Where Sidney Poitier should have won 3 Academy Awards. He didn't win any. Don't get me started. But he starred in To Sir with Love, which is a great picture about an engineer who can't get a job. So he teaches. He's Bahamian, but he spent a lot of time in Britain. He spent a lot of time in the United States, and he's living in London, and he's working. It's a typical bad kids, strong teacher, changes the kids' lives, and at the end of the movie, they love him. And the ending is great because the whole film, I'm ruining it for you because you'll never see it, but the whole film, he's trying to get a job, and he hates these kids. And at one point, he loses his temper with them. And it's the typical story where they begin to love him and he begins to love them. And they sing this song, the classic song, which was a hit song during the 60s. It's To Sir, with Love. And this girl named Lulu, who became a one-hit wonder, sings it at the end. And Poitier almost cries. They give him a gift. He goes, they ask him to give him a speech. And in classic Poitier way, he just kind of, I think I should just take this to my office. And he goes in his office, and you think the movie's over, and he's got the acceptance letter from the engineering job. And they start playing that song again, and he stands up, and right before the credits roll, he tears up the letter of acceptance for the engineering job. And obviously, he's going to stay and teach these kids. And it's just a great movie. And he also starred in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner with Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn that year. And they call me Mr. Tibbs. What's the name of the movie? In the Heat of the Night. In the Heat of the Night with Rod Serling. Rod. Okay, you know what? I'm going to stop smoking weed. I am. Rod. Who starred in To Sir with the movie I'm talking about? Rod
Steiger?
Rod Dado. Rod Serling. Rod Carew.
Ooh.
Rod Dangerfield. They called him Rodney. Yes, Rod who? Rodney who?
Steiger?
Rod Steiger. Yes, Rod Steiger. He won the Academy Award over Sydney. But who's had a better year than that? Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, In the Heat of the Night, and To Sir with Love in 1 year, 1967. I was born that year. I wish. Quick time out. We're heading into the 5. The Bakersfield College campus has a, quote, new president. We'll meet her next.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. National Weather Service meteorologist Richard Bond says a heat wave has been breaking records in Philadelphia and the Northeast.
The 98 degrees that they recorded.
Yeah, we're doing remotes. Look at
Tuesday
us.
was the earliest
But I
98
forgot
degree
that. Like,
reading for them. So, but at the same point, other stations up and down the East Coast, from D.C. up to New York and Boston, they did set
I forgot about
daily records, but oftentimes they eclipse the
You did a
record
show
by
from the
no
Hard
more than a
Rock?
degree or two. So it has been precedent that it has been this hot before.
A cold front is heading through, bringing cooler temperatures and much needed rain to the region. Parts of Virginia remain in a severe drought, however. Some deaths and illnesses in New Mexico are linked to an unknown substance.
New Mexico authorities say 3 people are dead and more than a dozen first responders are being treated for exposure to an unidentified substance after being called to a home in Albuquerque for a suspected drug overdose. New Mexico State Police say 3 of the 4 people who were found unresponsive inside the home have died. The other is being treated at a hospital. 18 first responders were exposed to the substance and began experiencing symptoms that included nausea and dizziness. All of the first responders were transported to the hospital where they are being monitored. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Federal prosecutors announced criminal charges against former Cuban President Raul Castro in the 1996 downing of civilian planes flown by Miami-based exiles as the Trump administration escalated pressure on the island's socialist government. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 645 points, the S&P advanced by 79. More at townhall.com.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
When I was feeling the stress of too much credit card debt, I looked at 2 different options: debt settlement and debt management. They may sound the same, but guess what? They're not. Debt settlement seemed like a quick fix, but I found out it would destroy my credit, create tax headaches, and hit me with huge fees. They actually told me to stop paying my bills. No way, not me. Then I turned to a debt management plan developed by the team at Trinity. They worked with my creditors, lowered my payments, reduced my interest, saved me thousands, and paid off my debt. And Trinity is a Christian company, which is important to me.
This kind of bittersweet, isn't it? Down. Call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
Yeah.
Markets have a big...
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
What the video shows. I'm Chris Davis. The body cam video from the Porterville incident in which Tulare County Detective Randy Hoppert was killed April 9th and suspect David Morales was run over intentionally by a Kern County SWAT vehicle has been released by the Kern County Sheriff's Office.
So how does anything change for you? Not really? From going from interim to... Yeah. I mean, there was no question.
Only part of the video has audio, but you can hear the shots being fired at the vehicle. Kern County Deputy Chad Clark was put on administrative leave after the incident and while the investigation continues. The search for 16-year-old Irene Cruz. She's been missing since about 7:30 Tuesday morning, say Bakersfield police, and that was along Smuggler's Cove Street, which is just south of Panama Lane. Cruz is described as 5 feet tall, 110 pounds. She has black hair, brown eyes, a nose piercing, and was wearing a black T-shirt, blue jeans, and black shoes. Police are asking for tips.
No, it doesn't work.
So far, the river fire, which is the one at the mouth of Kern Canyon, has burned about 3,500 acres of vegetation, says CAL FIRE, but it is now about 70% contained, with firefighters on the ground and fire retardant being dumped by airplanes. Highway 178 is back open in the area after being closed for a couple of days. A civil rights attorney from Kern County is now running for lieutenant governor of California. Oliver Moss says what inspired him to run is the immigration enforcement situation. The 28-year-old says his platform will be protecting the families and tells Turn to 23 that He believes
You don't gotta
affordable
ask me
housing
that
can
on
be
the air.
accomplished partially by defunding ICE.
Well, of
I'm Chris
course, it
Davis
only
in the
makes sense.
KERN
Oh, they're
newsroom
going to
with
dog
news
you
every
about
half
that for
hour
a
and when it
while.
breaks on the News
Oh,
Talk
she's a short
96.1
timer.
and
She's gonna go
AM
with him.
1230 KERN.
To the rest, well, in a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want.
Necessarily
They start shooting in a week. I'm gonna make him an offer.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Wednesday, 20th day of May. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. We're streaming live at KERNradio.com. Still lots to do in the final hour. We still will talk about the IRGC saying they intend to extend the war if bombing continues. You'll hear from the president, who says, I don't give a doggone. We're ready to go. You'll hear from the president. We'll get into some sports. The Knicks came back from 22 down last night to upset Chris's Cleveland Cavaliers. And my prediction is still alive. Bring out the brooms, Mr. Burdick. That is going to be a sweep. Do we have Wemby tonight? We have Wemby tonight. Spurs, game 2, Spurs and Oklahoma City. And the Dodgers get after it about a half an hour. Shohei Ohtani is on the bump. But for those that are viewing on YouTube can see, we've been joined live in the studio by now. The president, the term interim has been removed. And my guest, Stacy Pfluger, is the president of Bakersfield College. Congratulations.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Always good to see you. And we were laughing because my producer was like, whose car is that? I said, that's Dr. Pfluger's.
Yes.
And we're always amazed that you got a real, tell them what kind of car you drive.
I drive a Dodge Challenger.
It's a cool car.
It is.
Not what I would expect a college president to be driving.
I can't be too predictable.
Exactly. So you must be thrilled.
Absolutely.
Certainly not shocked. I think everybody knew you were going to get the gig. Is that safe to say or no?
I just never approach it that way.
Yeah.
Until it's done, it's not done. So I'm thrilled to have been given the opportunity to continue the work that's been going on. It's really an honor.
Yeah. And I really debated whether I should get into this because it kind of takes off from your celebration, but it's kind of a bittersweet day because we also learned that the chancellor, Dr. Stephen Bloomberg, is moving on to Arizona. I know you've worked with him in the past, and he was a big part of bringing you here. Your thoughts?
I wish him all the best. He's going to, I believe, the largest community college district in the nation with 10 colleges, and I don't even know how many students. So it's one of those opportunities that doesn't come along just every day. So I wish him all the best. I think we at Bakersfield College and at Kern CCD are going to be fine. We're in a good position. The vast majority of our leadership positions are very stable. I think there's one vice chancellor position at the district that's still interim, but we're heading in a good direction. And I trust the board of trustees. They'll do what they need to do to bring in the next chancellor.
Yeah. What is the direction now that you are no longer interim president? What is your vision for the schools we head into 27, 28, 29?
Short term, I want to continue strengthening our connections with the community. It's certainly not that we don't have a connection, but I think we can do a better job of giving back to the community sometimes and just being present instead of just asking the community to come support us. So that's part of what I'm focused on. Obviously, anything we can do to support our students, whether that's through basic needs support, academic support, and just really putting them at the center of our decision-making process.
Yeah. What was your first year like? What was this past school term like?
So I learned a lot
I
for
bet.
sure, because I had been at the district office, but the district is a little bit a good size step removed from the college. So I certainly have learned a lot and gotten to know a lot of the people. But Bakersfield College has such a long history and a long tradition with this community, and lots of good programs for students. And it's just great to be a part of that legacy. And it seems like literally every day there's something going on campus, and it's great to have that kind of energy as well.
Yeah. Talking with Stacy Pfluger, she's been named what's the term after interim?
You just say president.
Just president. She's the president of Bakersfield College for moving to interim. What are the strengths of the school? Being the master of the obvious, but nevertheless, we've got new folks coming into our community. Talk about what you're most proud of.
I think we have some of the most dedicated faculty and staff that you can find at a community college. They are there for the students. They're there to make sure that students don't just succeed here, but are prepared for whatever comes next, whether that's transfer or employment. And you can really feel that as you walk through and talk to faculty, see the different programs, the equipment we have. We've got a lot of really strong programs.
Yeah.
And you see it in the student services side as well. We have people who truly care and want to help our students, and in whatever ways that looks like. And part of that's just making sure they get to the right place. The first day of class was interesting in January because you just had to trust that there were buildings there because it was so foggy. So it was one of those walk by faith. I promise there's a building there if you just keep walking.
Yeah. That passion played itself out last Wednesday when we had Dr. Kimberly Bly on, and she was talking about programs and what she was so proud of, and she started crying.
She's amazing.
She literally started crying, and I was like, wow, that you see the passion
Absolutely.
and the devotion that's going on up in the Northeast.
Absolutely. And I've seen it a lot. We've had over 10 different either pre-commencement ceremonies or end of semester celebrations for different groups over the last 3 weeks. And it has been amazing to see not just what we've done to help students, but how passionate the people who are doing that work really are about those projects.
What were the commencement numbers like? And are we doing a better job? And I say we, the state of California, not necessarily BC or KCCD, but are we doing a greater job getting those kids into four-year schools?
Our transfer numbers continue to go up. So I do believe that is really trending upward. Part of that is the associate degrees for transfer that the state has been rolling out. There's some more in development on that, but when they're really designed to speed transfer to the CSU and the UC, it sets our students up for even greater success. So that has made a huge difference.
Yeah. Dr. Stacy Pfluger, new president of Bakersfield College, is our guest. I asked you this last time we had you in here. I'll probably ask you this again.
Fair
you
enough.
Come in here again. But are we doing anything again as a state to get rid of, I think, is an archaic master plan? This master plan that's literally is about as old as I am, which tells you how old it is. Early 60s, this thing was put up, where they're trying to keep everybody in lanes, the UCs in their lanes, the CSUs in their lanes, and the junior colleges in their lanes. But as I point out, whenever I talk about this, the UCs aren't staying in their lanes. The CSUs aren't staying in their lanes, but both of them are demanding that junior colleges not provide four-year degrees. I don't get it. Are we anywhere close to blowing this thing up?
Probably not as close as we both like.
Yeah.
It keeps coming up in multiple levels of conversation. It's come up in Sacramento. It's not like it's a minor change that's needed, and that's what causes the consternation. Is somebody's going to have to really lead.
That's why I said
kind of a
blow
new
it up.
vision for it, and I haven't heard that kind of discussion really, and I think that's part of our holdup because it's a long process to get a bachelor's degree approved for a 2-year college right now.
Yeah, it is. It's a shame, but you do have programs that provide a 4-year degree. We always talk
Correct.
about
We
that.
we have 2 bachelor's degree programs right now, and trying to get that third one approved.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Stacy Pfluger, our guest, 842-5376, our phone review, a question for 842-KERN. Anything that you want to say about the school and your tenure and what you want to see achieved before you leave here?
Well, first, I hope I'm here for a long time. That's
I bet you
my
will
plan. I'm trying to plant some roots. I just want to continue to build on what we have because it really has been a great place. I mean, obviously, we opened the Arvin Educational Center back about a year and a half ago. It's shown great growth in that time, but I'd like to see it continue to grow and continue to build our programming at BC Southwest as well as our Delano campus, and just really continue to not just focus on our main campus at Panorama, but also just make sure we're serving all parts of our communities because that's a really important thing.
Yeah.
That it's easy to get focused on one piece or the other, but we have a lot of pieces and they're all equally important.
Yeah. what I see, the thing that has impressed me in the times that I've been working with KCZD now for about 2 years, and it's the outreach, the ability to go out and bring the education to these kids who might not normally bring the education to the Northwest, or even maybe even Porterville or Saracoso maybe, but just reaching out with these other campuses and the programs where you're reaching into high schools. I always allude to the program where you're bringing 8th graders onto the campus just to instill the idea of college in their minds. I think that is brilliant.
Absolutely. And our early college programs are strong.
Yes.
There's a lot of demand and I think a lot of hunger for that kind of early engagement with students. And it certainly sets them on a good trajectory to be successful. So yeah, lots of opportunity to continue serving.
You've worked with Dr. The Chancellor in the past, Dr. Bloomberg in the past. So I've got to ask you what you're going to be bombarded with is, well, you worked with him in the past and he brought you here. Is he going to bring you to Arizona? And are you going to take that gig perhaps? Follow him there as well.
I'm very happy in Bakersfield. I have no intention of going to Arizona either with him or otherwise. So I'm good. I am happy in Bakersfield. It has felt like home literally since the first day we got here. And my husband and I are both very, very content. And so, yes, I will answer that question many, many times in the coming weeks and months.
Yes, you will.
I am planting myself.
Well, that's good news. And I'm sure faculty, administrators, and students are happy to hear that. Thank you so much for taking the time. We really appreciate you coming and
Always
talking
a
with
pleasure.
us. And I'm sure we'll talk to you again.
Sure.
Dr. Stacy Pfluger, the president of Bakersfield College. Quick time out. Still lots to do. Again, we'll hear from the president after the break. The IRGC saying they're going to expand if, in fact, the war continues. We'll talk about that, talk a little sports, reiterate our lead story. Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader in the House, is asking young Black students to boycott SEC schools in the name of redistricting, asking these kids to forego millions and generational money for their redistricting fight. And I agree with them on the redistricting, but I don't agree with them telling these kids where to go to school. That's insane. Quick time out. We're coming right back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. We're streaming live at kernradio.com. Sweet. That was great. Thank you.
Kern
back and
Radio,
watch, we posted
News
on
Talk
YouTube.
96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Thank you.
First Look
Well,
with
it's always
Scott
good to see you.
Cox,
Thank you so
morning
much.
6 to 9
Congratulations.
a.m.
On the
Okay,
Thursday
take
edition
care.
of the First Look program, we're broadcasting
Steve
live
in
from
charge of-
Compassion Corner over at Channel 17. We're having ourselves a blood drive with Houchin Community Blood Bank. Dr. Corey will join us to help us out with our mental health stuff. And we have all the news, traffic, and weather you could ask for. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1, AM 1230, streaming live on the internet at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
The Valprado family are back with us. Louise's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen. And what in the Sam Hill can I tell you about Luigi's that you don't know? The Warehouse has been an absolute game changer. I'd be willing to bet that 90% of my audience has been to some event in the Warehouse. It is just the perfect venue for parties or special events or whatever's going on. And again, what can I tell you about the restaurant that you don't know? I mean, my favorites personally, Thursdays. The salmon, that candy-coated salmon is just unbelievable. They've added so many different new dishes to the restaurant. It is absolutely incredible. And of course, it's an absolute fashion show on the weekends. Where would you rather be? It's the place to be on a Friday or a Saturday afternoon. And again, if you're having any kind of party, it's a great venue in the Warehouse. Where would you rather be? In the capable hands of Gino Valprado's incredible staff at Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen.
Support comes from Amazon Business. Free your team from time-consuming procurement tasks. Discover smart business buying where unmatched selection meets AI-driven tools to simplify complex processes so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Giving your liver a spring cleaning is easy with Active Liver from New Nordic, the delicious daily detox that will keep you feeling your best. Search for Active Liver by New Nordic on Amazon or pick up some at your local CVS, Wegmans, or GNC.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort.
Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses, plus free delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number. To a good life sleep.
Hey, this is Terry Maxwell. You know, one thing I've never enjoyed is painting. It takes time, patience, and real skill to do it right. That's why when it comes to painting my home or business, I trust the professionals at Howling Painting. Howling Painting is family owned and operated right here in Kern County and has proudly served our community since 1978. They were even voted Best of Bakersfield, Best Painting Company in 2025 and 2026. Whether it's residential or commercial, interior or exterior, Howling Painting delivers top quality work at competitive prices. Their team is dedicated to exceptional service and results that exceed expectations. And they don't consider the job finished until you're completely satisfied. Plus, they're fully licensed and insured, so you can feel confident your property is in the good hands from the start to the finish. Get a free, no obligation consultation today at Howling Painting. That's HALLING.com or call 872-0988. Howling Painting, quality work you can trust.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
You're the only boy I've had.
Lily Marsh came up with a pretty damn good Cher movie.
Which was?
Mask.
I have a couple in here saying the same thing.
That's a pretty good film. I did see that. That's a pretty good picture. I forgot about that. She's a great actress. Which goes to show you, and I've said this all my life. I said, you know what, I said this when I got to Buckley and I met Melissa Gilbert. And she was this squirrely little shy little girl. And I was like, she's on television? Like, if there's no other industry where other people that do other things for a living can do this and do it as well as anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like Frank Sinatra has an Oscar. You know what I'm saying? Like Frank Sinatra never wanted to be an actor. Frank Sinatra never studied acting. How difficult can it be? You say what other people write for you. You walk where people tell you to walk. And there's a man behind the film, behind the damn camera, that's telling you, no, don't do it that way. Kind of do it like this. I'm telling you, you guys know my first love was I wanted to be in entertainment. I went to school, went to 2 high schools where it was all about Hollywood, all the people involved, the kids that I knew, all of my friends, other than my close friends, Tempero and Skelly. Their father, his father was a shrink, and Sam's father was a president of the Bar Association of Burbank. But all these other kids were either celebrities themselves or, you know, Glenn Larson's kids and the Disney kids, blah, blah, blah. And I wanted to go in the entertainment business. It was just, I was born at the wrong time. I was the Jerry Quarry of entertainment. If you don't understand that, I've always said that Jerry Quarry, if Jerry Quarry had been born 10 years later, Jerry Quarry would have been the heavyweight champion of the world. But he's a Shafter boy. And this is the only thing I don't like about you Shafter people, is I think you've got the best community in our county. I think you've got the best government, municipal government in our county. And I just love Shafter. I used to cover Shafter for the Bakersfield, California. And I knew John Quinn and all those guys back in the day. And you got the best run city. But the only thing I don't like about you is that Jerry Quarry and his brother, who both died young from getting their brains knocked out. There's not a plaque. There's not a statue. There's not anything in that city that commemorates your boys, Mike and Jerry Quarry. And Jerry Quarry went 15 rounds with Muhammad Ali. And like I said, had he been born 10 years later, he'd have been the heavyweight champion of the world. But he was born when he was born, and he just had to go up against, I don't know, Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, Ken Norton, George Foreman. Other than that, he didn't really have any competition. You know what I'm saying? And he went 15 rounds with Ali. I don't think he hit the ground. Ali beat the crap out of him, but he never hit the ground. And like I said, if he's born in any other era, maybe even born 10 years earlier. Who were heavyweights in the 40s and the 50s? There weren't really big heavyweights in the 40s and the 50s. Before Ali, Liston, but before that, I can't think of any. Joe Louis was out in like the 30s and the 40s, but Corey would have been a rock star. But he grew up in an era, it's like if you're a golfer and you hit the tour in the late 90s. Good luck with that. You just came along during the Tiger era. Good luck with that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, 842-537-6842-KERN. I didn't mean to bag on Shafter, though. I love Shafter. Love you guys. But get a statue for Jerry Quarry. I'm telling you. Be a great thing for his family. What do you got?
See, I agree 100% with Howard on the subject. It absolutely does not make sense to be paying people reparations that were not slaves and did not suffer. It's absolutely ridiculous.
That wasn't the conversation. That was a sarcastic side note. God, it's amazing that I have to explain to this like I'm a damn school teacher. You guys really didn't see that? You guys really think I'm for reparations? I'm as much for reparations as I am for giving these thugs money. That was the point, to show how absurd it is to give money to hoodlums who say that they were unjustly tried many times. And Howard made a mistake. I wasn't going to correct him, but many of these, as I read, were in fact Trump judges that sentenced these men. The point of me bringing up reparations, because I've brought it up in the past, because you're right, it is absurd. But giving me reparations for my great-great-grandfather is just as stupid as giving money back to people who attacked Capitol police officers. If they got treated too harshly because they rammed the damn Capitol and injured police officers, so what? That's what I say. I'm on the side of the Capitol Police. Call me crazy. And if we treated them too harshly, so what? Nobody had any feelings for those cops who were pinned up against the wall. You heard Daniel Hodges describe it. They're saying, heave, ho, heave, ho. Go back and look at the footage. I had somebody in that chat room say, well, it's been edited. Oh, give me a break. Give me a break. Did they edit? Did they edit in the sound of Hang Mike Pence? Did they edit the video of Mike Pence with his two daughters in tow? He's got his left hand in his left daughter's hand. He's got his right hand in his other daughter's hand. And his wife is behind him because the detail has to worry about Mike. And they're running out of the Capitol to save his life. And those are the people you want to give money to? The point of me bringing up reparations was to show how ridiculous and stupid it is, and is equally as stupid to give money to thugs and criminals and urban terrorists and treasonous Americans. That was the point. You really think I want to check for my great-great-grandfather? Give me a freaking break. God. 842-5376, 842-KERN. You got a phone call?
No.
What was that all about?
Someone tightening you up on the Jerry Quarry situation.
What, they do have a statue out there for Corey?
No, he was saying he never went 15 with Muhammad. I think he said that the first one went 3 and ended with cuts, and then the same with the second one, but that one went 6 or so.
I don't think so. I think the original fight in Atlanta, I believe that was Ali's first fight after coming back after 3 years. And I thought that he went the distance with the champ. So what? Jerry Quarry was still a great... See, stay calm, Ralph. Stay calm, Ralph. The point of my story, whether Jerry Quarry went 3 seconds with Muhammad Ali or not, was that he was a great fighter. He's a local kid who had to fight Muhammad Ali, had to fight Joe Frazier, had to fight Ken Norton. The point of the story was he came in an era where boxing was being dominated on the heavyweight division by some of the greatest fighters of all time. There was just no room for Jerry Quarry, and he was a much better fighter than his record because he was going up against some of the greatest fighters of all time. And the point of the story is, if he'd been born 10 years later, he'd have been a heavyweight, or maybe 10 years earlier. And if I got how many rounds he went with Muhammad Ali wrong, I'm sorry. That wasn't the point of the story. Can I go home now? No? 30 minutes? 30 whole minutes? Stay tuned.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
With SRN News,
I
I'm
hate you
Keith
people. I know
Peters
you're
in
listening to me.
Washington. A federal judge has refused to postpone a trial next month for civil claims stemming from the 2024 collapse of Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge. U.S. District Judge James Bradar ruled Wednesday that the trial will start on June 1st as scheduled, despite the objections of companies involved in the deadly disaster. Former Cuban President Raul Castro has been charged in a U.S. indictment with murder and other crimes for his alleged role in the downing of 2 civilian aircraft operated by Miami-based exiles in 1996 off the coast of the Caribbean island. Acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche announced the indictment in Miami on Wednesday. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 645 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Healthcare. Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. Rifle shots can be heard hitting the Kern County Sheriff's Office SWAT vehicle that was sent to help Tulare County deputies April 9th in Porterville, and body cam video released Tuesday by the Kern County Sheriff's Office. The video shows what happened moments before suspect David Morales was run over intentionally and killed. 16-year-old Irene Cruz is missing and has not been seen since Tuesday morning around 7:30 along Smuggler's Cove Street. Cruz is described as 5 feet tall, 110 pounds. She has black hair, brown eyes, and a nose piercing. Police are asking for tips. Oliver Ma, a civil rights attorney from Kern County, is running for lieutenant governor of California on a platform, he says, of protecting families and defunding ICE. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
Kern County is hiring its next state assembly member. Let's review the applicants. Applicant 1, Ana Palacio. Top funders, Sacramento Special Interests spending big to buy her the job. Healthcare plan, $700 billion government takeover that eliminates Medicare for millions of seniors and gives control of our healthcare decisions to Sacramento politicians. Pretty radical. There's no way we can afford Ana Palacio. Applicant 2, Andre Gonzalez. Experience, elected to the Bakersfield City Council. Record, addressed housing affordability and brought jobs to Kern County. Healthcare plan, expand access and bring a medical school to Kern County. Accountable to Kern County voters. Oh, easy choice. Vote for Andre Gonzalez for state assembly. Kern County's voice every time. That paid for by Keep California Golden. Ad committee's top funders, California Association of Realtors, Alliance of California's Farmers and Ranchers, and California Building Industry Association. Not authorized by a candidate or a committee controlled by a candidate.
In 2026, Bay Alarm celebrates 80 years of security. With burglar and fire alarm systems, 24/7 in-house monitoring, and local service, our promise to the Central Valley remains the same. We got you. Learn more at bayalarm.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, mornings 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we're broadcasting live from Compassion Corner over at Channel 17. We're having ourselves a blood drive with Houchin Community Blood Bank. Dr. Corey will join us to help us out with our mental health stuff. And we have all the news, traffic, and weather you could ask for. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1, AM 1230, streaming live on the internet at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program.
They remain friends. Do you remember you don't remember this. They went on Letterman together. And that was pretty cool. And they sang that song together. But yeah, Sonny, and then we found out Sonny seemed like such a lovable guy, but he actually was horrible to her. And, it's the 60s and she was a woman. So he was the manager. I got to talk to this young lady right here, Chris, on my walk. Look out your window. She busted her leg skiing right there. Look at that thing she's got on her leg. I said, what did you do to your leg? I said, I did a Lindsey Vonn. Do you know who Lindsey Vonn is? And I literally said, no, do you want to tell me? And she goes, well, she's a skier. I said, I'm joking. I just saw her at SC yesterday. She goes, I saw that. I go, yeah, I saw her do the commencement thing. I said, you did a Lindsey Vonn? And she said, kind of. I said, are you a competitive skier? She said, no, I was just screwing around and my leg got caught on my ski and I tripped. And they're going to Sequoia and they're staying over here at the hotel. She's walking her dog during our complex. Talking about this beautiful young woman who's got this huge freaking, she said she blew her ACL and her, what's the other? Yeah, she blew them both. It's like, damn, I am so lucky. I've never had any knee problems in my whole life. Never tore a ligament, never had any surgeries on my knees. I busted my shoulder my sophomore year. Ken Brecka in practice went low and I hit him and knocked him over. I hurt him too. I busted his collarbone and separated my shoulder. And I think my shoulder separation was worse than his broken collarbone because I did not sleep for 3 days. 842-5376, 842-KER. And so the IRGC says they're going to extend the war beyond the region if, in fact, the bombing continues. I've told you, I don't believe the bombing is going to continue. I don't think the president, he knows he's underwater. We've only had, and again, I don't mean to be flippant. Every time I allude to this, I want to make sure that you don't think I'm trying to be flippant about the number of deaths. But let's be honest, we've been lucky. It's sort of only been 13. But we get into the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, and the party is through. And any legacy that even Trump has to know that. I mean, don't even think about getting the triple digits into 100 people dead. And again, as we said yesterday, how does this thing end with victory without getting the uranium? And you can't bombard them into handing over the uranium. Meantime, I have two separate bites from the president. I thought I only had one. Let's get the Iranian one, not because we didn't use the reimbursement one, did we? Well, we can use that as well. But here's the president on Iran.
Iran is a defeated nation. We're dealing with some people, and actually, I must tell you, we're dealing with some very good people. We're dealing with people that are, I think, far more reasonable than the people that are really no longer with us. We're dealing with some people with talent, with good brain power, and we're pretty impressed by it. So hopefully those people will make a deal that's going to be great for everybody.
Do you see what I'm talking about? And why every single day we talk about this, I say he's got to play this straight. What the hell is he talking about? We're dealing with good people, smart people. What is he talking about? Who landed in Iran who are reasonable and are willing to make a deal? And he's got to stop selling this because it's not going to happen. They are not. Is there anybody sincerely that can hear my voice that believes that the IRGC would allow, even if there's somebody reasonable, if they find somebody reasonable who's willing to sign, yes, here, come get our uranium, what do you think is going to happen to them by the IRGC? Do you really think that these fanatics who want to destroy Israel, who chant as we chant, God bless America, they chant death to America, do you really think there's a reasonable body within that group, within the IRGC, that's going to let somebody sign off on a deal that hands over the uranium to Donald Trump? And if that's not the case, then tell me, what is victory? They're a defeated nation? Then why isn't the Strait of Hormuz open? And even if we get the Strait of Hormuz open, the Strait of Hormuz was open before this whole thing started. So So without the uranium, we've lost 13 kids for what? And as you know, I have been a supporter of what we're trying to do from the get-go, just a critic of how we're doing it. And the president's inability to simply, just for this, Mr. President, I don't care what you say about Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer or reporters and calling them stupid in the press line and Rosie O'Donnell and John McCain and enjoying Mueller's death and all the stupidity that makes my head explode. But this is war. This is war. And this is the one topic that you have to play straight. This isn't a campaign. This isn't some primary where you're trying to get rid of some Republican that pissed you off. This is war in one of the most crazy areas on the planet. And for him to stand out there and say, we're talking with some really smart people, they're much better, we're close to a deal, and boo, 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 boo. I hope he's telling the truth. I hope he's right. Why would I fight against that? Why would I want that to be wrong? I hope he's right. I hope he's talking to somebody smart. I hope he's talking to somebody moderate. I hope that there's going to be a deal. I hope they hand over their uranium. I just find that hard to believe. Call me crazy. I'm sure you call me a lot worse than that. But I don't understand. I don't understand. I really don't. And if you do, then explain it to me. 842-5376. Anything?
I got a couple here.
What do you got?
Ralph, what about women? What should we do? Who should we sue?
No kidding. That is a great point. Thank you. Not being able to vote till 1920. Still, women don't make as much money as men. If there's a man and a woman anchor, the man anchor still makes more dough. That's a fact, Jack. That's a great point. The way women have been treated throughout this century and throughout the 20th century, that is a great point. And see, that's what Mario was pointing out. That this is, and that's why I went directly to reparations. You all know I'm not in favor of reparations. I've been poo-pooing that the 13 years that I've been on this radio station. But I brought that up to show the absurdity, the absolute absurdity, and as Mario puts it, the incredible slippery slope. Who gets this money? And that's essentially what Howard was saying, but he was saying it in the defense of these wackadoos who subverted democracy. You know, if it's a different, let's be honest. Let's be blunt. If it's a different century, those people get shot and hanged if it's a different century. Now, I'm not in favor of that. I'm just saying that's the reality of it. That in a different century, say the 1800s, those people would have been considered treasonous and hanged from trees throughout the district. You gotta think about it. I can't believe that there's one American that doesn't think that that is just almost a capital crime. To smash in the doors and take on the police and say, screw you, we're looking for Mike Pence. And you're okay with that. That just, there's nothing I can say about that. There's nothing I can do about that. What else you got? Where's this thing going? OKC, San Antonio started.
San Antonio is currently leading the series. I don't know if the score is.
I know. Yeah, I just want to score. Because if
10-9 San Antonio.
If San Antonio screws around and wins tonight, if they screw around and win tonight, we could have 2 sweeps. Lakers in 5. No, we could have 2 sweeps, Chris. Telling you. Maybe not so much your Knicks Cavs. I think that's going to go 6. But this thing, if they win tonight, now I expect OKC to win tonight. I really do. I think SGA is going to go off. I think he's got to be able to say, and this will be the test of his superstar status.
Yeah.
He's got to say, I'm going to have 40 tonight. We're going to win.
Yeah, you can't be a 2-time MVP and lose 2 games in a row.
Exactly. At home. No. You got to say, I'm going to, and this has happened before. I've told you the Kareem story, the massacre on Memorial Day. I was watching it just the other day because Gary Vitti, the longtime Laker trainer, is on a speaking engagement. He's doing all kind of different podcasts, and he was telling the story that I've told many times, that Magic has told many times, where they get destroyed. They get by like 30. And Kareem, for the first time, looked really old. Parrish and McHale worked him. And he comes into the locker room and he says, it's all on me, fellas. This is all on me. But let me tell you something. It ain't happening tomorrow night. And we're going to win tomorrow night. We're going to win this series. I guarantee it. It's exactly what Magic and Vitti said he said in the locker room. And the next night, I think he had 36 points. Well, let me not say that because somebody's going to call in and say, no, Rob, he had 32 points. He had a lot of points. He had a lot of rebounds. They won game 2, and we ended up beating the Celtics that year in 6. So it can happen. We got blown out. The massacre on Memorial Day. And then Kareem came back the next day as the superstar that he is and lit it up. That's what SGA has to do tonight. There's just one problem. There wasn't a Wemby on the court back in the 80s. There was Larry Bird, and there was McHale, and there was Parrish, and there was DJ, but this kid is a force. And I think he knows if we can win tonight, this series is ours. And so this is going to be fun to watch tonight. It really, really is. I don't know. I'll be bouncing back and forth. That's why I DVR the Dodger game, because Shohei is taking the bump, and he is hitting tonight. Doc can't make up his mind what he wants to do, but apparently Shohei's going to hit. Because I think one of the reasons there, because he's coming out of his slump. He hit the ball hard last night. He's not hitting any home runs, but he's squaring up the bat now. And he hit a couple of rockets last night. I think he went 2 for 4. And did you see his Little League home run the other day?
I did not.
He hit a triple, and the ball got away. And Orel Hershiser, he's starting to lose it as a commentator.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't understand, and he's a Major League Baseball player, because I used to be an umpire. And every ballpark has their own ground rules. There's no Major League set ground rules. Every stadium is different. That's why when you see them meet, the umpires and the managers, they're not only exchanging lineup cards, but the home manager will go over, hey, don't forget that if the ball goes in the corner, it's dead and blah, blah, blah. And his triple hit the net because they have a net in, I forget where they were playing. I guess it was San Diego. And that goes all the way to the foul pole. And once it hit the net, Orel thought that the ball was dead, but the ball came back into the field. And Orel just kept saying, well, why wasn't it dead? Because it didn't leave the field. And there's no set rule. Every stadium has their own ground rules. And it ended up being a triple. They threw the ball away, and he scored. I call that a Little League home run. Let's go ahead and take our final break of the night. We'll come back and clear the board, see what you all are talking about before I get out of here. Tomorrow's a Thursday. Mike Turnipseed will be here for the final time for a while. Mr. Turnipseed's going on vacation. See how all my rich regulars go on these summer excursions and the host is sitting here in a chair? I don't think I'm going to Vegas this summer. I think I'm going to come up with something better than that.
Really?
Well, because I'm going to Philly in late September. So I think my birthday's on a Monday. I'm thinking of just taking my Monday off, just doing a 3-day weekend, going down to LA and hanging out for a couple of days. My mom's birthday's that Friday. So maybe take Friday, Monday off, go hang out with my mom, hang out with the boy, come back Tuesday, and then take maybe like 10 days, maybe like 8 or 9 days for Philly. Because I want to spend like 4 or 5 days in Philly. I love the city of Philadelphia. Been there twice, and both times had the time of my life. Went to a bar that was a strip club. Now you say, what's so weird about that, Ralph? Well, it was a bar, right? And you have the bar and the back area of the bar. What they did is they put planks over the inside of the bar area. You know what I'm saying? So instead of like this being the back of the bar area where the bartender stands, they put planks all around the bar,
right,
so that the girls can walk like
right up on you.
Right up on you. And I was like, okay, all right, a little too close for a brother, but not for Jeff Hartman, former attorney and overall good egg. I got a great Jeff Hartman story about that afternoon. And as Opie said to Andy, I can't tell you. Why can't you tell me? I can't tell you why I can't tell you. But it's a classic story. But I can't tell you. And I can't tell you why I can't tell you. Final break of the night. Keep it locked. Scott Jennings at the top of the hour. Again, tomorrow's a Thursday. Mike Turnipseed, Daniel Petrie, and whatever else is going on. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1, AM 1230. We stream live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio.
Whenever you're ready.
Three, two. Again, want to congratulate Dr. Stacy Pfluger for being the permanent now. They've taken off the interim of her presidency at Bakersfield College, but it's bittersweet because now we must bid adieu to Chancellor Stephen Bloomberg, who I think was having a tremendous impact on Bakersfield College. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Thursday TRBS. Well, another regular going on a summer vacation. We'll talk to Mike Turnipseed, and not for a while after that. And plus our money man, Daniel Petrie. All that and me at 3. It's TRBS, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. And we're streaming live at kernradio.com. I'll see you at 3.
Financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code VALUE to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code VALUE to borrow up to $10,000. Use code VALUE to borrow up to $10,000.
In 2026, Bay Alarm celebrates 80 years of security. For the Central Valley, that means local service including burglar and fire alarm systems, 24/7 in-house monitoring, and custom security designed to work with business operations. Bay Alarm has real people rooted in your community looking out for your business. After 8 decades and 3 generations of family ownership, our promise is still the same. We got you. Learn more at bayalarm.com.
Are you looking for a hospital that truly cares for your health and well-being? At Good Samaritan Hospital, they provide high-quality medical detox, psychiatric services, and medical and surgical care. They accept most insurances, including Medi-Cal, Medicare, and Kern Family. They offer Kern County's longest-standing inpatient detox program with dual diagnosis that combines medical care and withdrawal treatment all under one roof. Learn more at GoodSamaritanHospital.com or call 661-215-7500. Good
Who's
Samaritan
San Antonio's
Hospital.
coach?
They care for their community.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch
Is he
my show,
black?
The JR Show, starting at 1
He's a
p.m.
black guy?
Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
I think she was a better artist the older she got. I think she was better in her 30s and her 40s than she was when she was young on that show. I think her voice got a little deeper and a little more rich. I don't know. Just my thoughts. 842-5376, 842-KRN. Let's clear the board. Let's get out of here.
Let's see. Of course, Howard agrees. He's blinded by bias. When a topic is broached, your listeners already know that, say, SYED.
SYED. So I have no idea what that is.
Or what opinion Howard will have.
Well, I mean, there's people in the chat room that want Howard to have his own show. They're tired of listening to me, and they're not going to listen to me anymore. Bye, Felicia. Don't listen. My check doesn't change. My life's not changing, and I ain't going anywhere. So if you want to come in the chat room and be rude and say, I'm not going to listen to Ralph anymore, just don't listen to Ralph anymore. Why do you have to declare it? I have to declare that I'm no longer listening to Ralph Bailey. You know, I've been doing this 22 years. You know how many times I've heard that and how it's impacted my career? Zero. Absolutely none. What else you got? So it just
Ralph,
goes to show you.
Pete Hilton has been asked on national television if he agrees and will say that Joe Biden won the 2020 election.
I saw that.
And
I
won't
saw
say
that. I saw that. And I was screaming at my television. And there's I can't explain 2020 election deniers. I can't. And I don't understand. Well, let me not even go there. Lose my job. But I can't understand it. I really can't. And it's always funny how, when Republicans win, the election is somehow safe. And their thesis is that the Democrats have come up with this concoction where they can change elections. Well, then why did they lose in 24? If they have a mechanism that they used in 2020 to allow Joe Biden to beat Donald Trump, then why didn't they use it for Kamala? It's absurd. It's ridiculous. And if you examine the people that put forward these ideas, they are absurd and ridiculous. So it is what it is. What are you going to do? One more and I'm out of here.
Let's see. McCourt does own the land that the Dodger Stadium parking lot is on, but he doesn't receive any of the revenue generated from the parking fees collected at the stadium. He receives a lease payment from the Guggenheim Group each year, but at least we aren't paying that clown directly when we're paying for parking.
I hope you're right. But just the fact that he's still getting paid.
Yeah.
Just the fact that the Guggenheims have to write him a check, if that's accurate. Yeah. And his wealth, like I said, when you see his divorce proceedings and what they did and what they split up and the homes that they owned and how she refurbished their Malibu home and that they refurbished their Malibu home to the tune of $1.5 million. That was the refurbishing of the home. Cost them $1.5 million. I mean, it's insane. Really nice guy, too. Met him a couple of times. Met him, like I said, I got to interview him for about 30 minutes in Vero Beach. And then Buckley Radio, we were the Dodger affiliate. So we would go down to affiliate meetings. And in 2 different affiliate meetings, he showed up along with his wife, who has legs like a horse. And I mean that as a compliment, like a colt. You could see her muscles in her legs when she would walk. The best part of the affiliate meetings, though, is the Dodgers have an affiliate in Jamaica, and they would always bring white and dark rum to give to all of the stations. That's the only thing I got out of it. Want to thank Howard Marcus and Dr. Stacy Pfluger. In the meantime, for Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. I'll wrap to you tomorrow.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN, 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A House Republican introduces an amendment that judges and members of Congress can only be natural-born U.S. citizens. Correspondent Bernie Bennett has more.
South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace proposes a constitutional amendment prohibiting naturalized citizens from serving in Congress, becoming federal judges, or holding Senate-confirmed positions. In a Wednesday statement shared on X, Mace said she introduced a long overdue joint resolution for the constitutional amendment, noting, quote, "This is the very same standard the president and vice president are required to meet." Mace, who's running for governor in South Carolina, suggests that